Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters here on YouTube. Also follow my Facebook channel under Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, and also follow my showreel TikTok under HCS. How's everybody doing this evening? Hope everybody is doing great. I just want to say thank you for last night. We had an awesome show in which we had a lot of viewers, a lot of likes, which it was awesome. You know, sometimes you just go with the flow of things. You know, I know it's Sunday, so maybe some people might not be up so late today. So I'm just gonna wait to see who shows up here for tonight's live feed. Uh, I want to share something before I start the show. I want to share my little black obsidian pendant. As you see here, it's got a picture of a werewolf, and I got this ring from a friend of mine, brother Peter Limos, and it's a werewolf ring, as y'all can see. Um, so yes, I'm just sharing how it looks. I just got it through the mail today. I think it'll fit in the middle finger too. It's pretty good size. Maybe I can show it better like this. And it's a matching set. The necklace I got here and the ring. I hope everybody is doing great this evening. I want to get down to the nitty gritty of werewolves, Lycanthorpe werewolves, shapeshifters, skinwalkers. Uh, I want to get down to the nitty gritty of all this, of how they become that, how can they become like that, and where their power originates from. That's what I want to talk about tonight. How you doing, Sister Ivy Ramirez? Hope you're doing good. Uh, Early in the morning. To me, I slept all day, and it's when I'm up, it's the nighttime. So that's why the I'm a night owl. You know, so I make my videos late at night, early in the morning. For those that are up, have problems sleeping, you know, it's when you find me here doing lives. See the lighting, which should be better. I think that one looks pretty good right there. I'm doing good, Sister Ivy. You know, getting ready for the week, for the week to start, which is, I guess today is Monday. Yes, I wanted to talk about, you know, the lycanthrope werewolf uh, skinwalker chapter phenomenon. Well, I ain't gonna call it phenomenon because I know where it kind of originates from, but the different kind of manifestations, how it can happen, you know, because I've witnessed all throughout my life different manifestations in this form, which, you know, some of them is just people that they're schizo, where they believe they're a werewolf, and they can't manifest, but it's kind of like they're being spiritually bonded to believe that, you know, that they have those capabilities. But then you have, when we talk about skinwalker, shapeshifter, lycanthrope, werewolves, what people want to call a dog man. We can add gypsies to the mix, or generational curses. You know, how somebody can become like that. How you doing, Two Shadows? And that's what tonight's video is about. Lycanthorpe. I'll show you my ring again. I got into the mail uh, uh, yesterday. It's a werewolf ring, and I got a mashing. Looks like a tooth, but it's a black obsidian, and it's got a werewolf on it. You know, as people they think they're vampires and pretend to be vampires. Yeah, that's no different than when you talk about a werewolf. You know, is how do they become werewolves? Do they get bitten to become a werewolf? And I'm going to tell you what I witnessed, what I believe, what they are. You know, I could say, because if you really think about it, I mean, for those viewers that are here, uh, when when I say the word demonic, the cryptid people start running around like their heads cut off. Because it takes away from the idea, right, that they're flesh and blood creatures. Gypsies practice witchcraft and necromancy. Witches and warlocks practice witchcraft and necromancy. Voodoo people practice witchcraft and necromancy. Uh, the pharaohs practice witchcraft and necromancy. A lot of the pyramid people, the kings from the different Spanish pyramids, they practiced witchcraft, necromancy, and sacrifices, right? By killing people, basically, they were worshiping false gods and demons. That's basically what I'm saying is it all goes down to witchcraft and necromancy, in which, since we're talking about witchcraft and necromancy, that means that the manifestations, for example, shamans, skinwalkers, nagual, all that comes from the same source because uh, demons taught them this. Native people say that the Bigfoot is a demon, and it has the ability to manifest into different forms. So basically, what I'm saying, the source of a manifestation is not that they're literally uh, shape shifting, like changing form as a person, is through witchcraft and occultancy. Most of this, they have this ability. They're not here in the flesh. Either two things: they're deceased, and they're in spirit form. That's why they can manifest, appear, and disappear. Or somebody that has done sold their soul already and is still here on Earth, which that would be kind of like hard to do, right? To say that, how can you, if you got your soul sold, but you're still here in the flesh, right? If you're still here in the flesh, that means your soul is still intact with you. So, but how can they manifest that way? I hear stories. Um, One of my cousins say that, well, what I witnessed, the witches can manifest, right, to lechuzas. But is it really a witch manifesting into a lechuza? Or is it they're summoning demons that look like this lechuzas, or what people want to call harpies? I mean, what's the real picture behind all that? How you doing, real MMA? And that's a topic I want to talk about today. Most people get all scared when I talk when I want to bring the demonic aspect out of it, or the spiritual aspect out of things. They don't want to talk about it, especially the cryptid community, because they want to say that all the cryptids are in their man-made community are flesh and blood creatures. I disagree with that, uh, because what I witnessed and I experienced, that's not what I seen. That's not what I encountered. And we're bringing the spiritual aspect tonight here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Whoever's tuning in, we're going to debunk this spiritually of what we're witnessing. You hear stories where people say that something is chasing them. They look like a werewolf, but then next thing you know, they don't know what happened to it, or they're close to it, and nothing happens to them. They don't get attacked. The reason sometimes they're not getting attacked is because if they're spiritual and they're through witchcraft and necromancy, they'd have to have some kind of approval, spiritual approval, since we're children of God, for them to target us or to attack us in some kind of way, which most of the times is going to be like a spiritual attack. They have to have some kind of approval from somewhere to be able to come at us in some kind of way, spiritual. The physical aspect is more of, it's not that you're seeing them I mean, you see them in the flesh, but when they make contact with you and you look, they're not there. It's because they're in spirit forms. They can only harm you uh, as much power as you give them, right? So that's what I want to talk about today, and you're more than welcome to say whatever you want to say here in the comments, and we'll discuss about it. That's what I wanted to bring today. The topic for tonight is debunking all these creatures. The lycanthrope, the werewolf, what people want to call a dog man, skinwalker, shapeshifter, because they're all included with the same thing. In Spanish, a skinwalker shapeshifter from Mexico is called a nagual, in which he's kind of like a witch doctor, and he has supposedly the ability to change form into is no different than a shapeshifter skinwalker that they used to practice witchcraft and necromancy, and they're not here amongst us in the flesh, right? So they made their deals, they done serve their souls. So when they die, they have the ability to still be living amongst the living, and and they can manifest, right, to look like whatever they want to look like, since they use the elements in which they like to manifest into beastly forms. Uh, some of the natives, when we talk, we can add a wendigo to the mix. A wendigo is in some form, kind of way, the same thing. It's the same thing as a skinwalker shapeshifter. The thing is that they would eat flesh, right, to become a wendigo. Uh, Wendigoism is kind of like when somebody's just out there in the woods, uh, they lose their mind, uh, where it's like a form of possession. So as they're being possessed, right, and whatever's got control of them, uh, makes them eat whatever, kills animals. They're probably eating raw meat because they have no control of their body, right? But a wendigo is somebody who has literally eaten human flesh, and when they die, they become a wendigo, right? And get it, wind is dealing with the wind, and they move very rapidly with the wind that sometimes you cannot see them because they move so rapidly. I've run into the wendigo numerous times when I'm out there investigating, but I have my protection on me. Pray, so it's only limited to what it's able to do because I'm being spiritually protected by the Heavenly Father. Now, if I wouldn't go prepared during my investigations in the woods, and prepare spiritually, uh, pray spiritually within the woods, and tie bound and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. If I wouldn't do that, then possibly something could have happened. Uh, but like I said, it's about the power you give something of that nature. And if you look at the short reels, I have the other one that I'm going to create a short reel of it. I'm thinking I created one, a short reel out of it or not. But if I didn't create one, I will create what I think was a wendigo. And it was pretty massive. I say it had to be like 13, 14 foot tall. And I could sense something in that area in the woods because I was in the woods, and I could sense something was around me. I just couldn't see it with the naked eye. But when I debunked a video, I seen it in the video of it looking at me a certain way, and it was pretty massive. Uh, which I'm thinking that that was a Wendigo because it was pretty tall. How you doing, Sister Dang It? Dang It Nancy? I do real MMA. I hope y'all doing great today. So, does anybody have any questions what we're talking about right now? The reason I bring all this up, brothers and sisters, is because all this is part of spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare, in which, there's people that did witchcraft and occultism one time. Their souls are sold, and they're promised certain things even after they die. They could be territorial in the locations they used to live, and they could run chaos and havoc after their death. But regardless of whatever they can try to do, Jesus Christ has domain over everyone, including because where their powers come is from deals that they made with Lucifer or demons. Well, through Jesus Christ, we have domain over them, no matter what kind of manifestation they take or whatever they do. Uh, but that's what the topic is for tonight. Uh, Lycanthorpe, werewolf. Gypsies say that they're real, right? Gypsies say that they're real, but uh, there are demonic real. She said the gypsies say that they're literally, how should I say, that they're real, but as in through witchcraft and necromancy, right? That's how they appear and disappear. I don't think that it's a person doing that, in which it will have to be a summoning, where somebody is summoning something to come in that form, which we know demons that can manifest to look like that, or maybe the people that are part of the cult or whatever, or of the whatever they're doing, that they might have an attachment on them. So it's the attachment that's with them, which is probably called like a familiar. If it's their, I should say, the demon that's with them, that people might be seeing manifest out of that individual. And that's what I witnessed. I want to share some stories with y'all of I've witnessed people in this way, where it's kind of like I always run into people that have negative attachments on them, where some the negative attachments on them might not be that strong, but there's some that they're being bonded by a demonic presence, in which when it manifests through the person, you're able to see what's bonding that person. Uh, so as you see, because it shows itself to you, it has to show itself to you through spiritual law, to see what you're dealing with, because everything is about the balance. So then when I witness what's afflicting that individual, that's when I send it away. I say, God bless you. I'll say, I love you. Or I'll say, a type bind and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, and it flees. I've seen videos and movies how priests act, and how they make it seem that these demons have some kind of power over them. They're causing all kinds of chaos and havoc. I believe that is just upon them, how much power they give something in that nature. So if you're giving something power through belief, right, then they're weakening their spiritual selves, because If they play Jesus Christ first, they don't have to do so many things to be able to get a negative attachment off of somebody, especially when it's done out of pure love. You notice how sometimes uh, when they're supposedly fighting, they get angry with the demon and they start yelling at it and stuff like that. Well, that's a spiritual opening. So I don't see how somebody could free themselves when somebody's trying to be negative towards a demon, because that only means one thing, that the demon would have more power over that individual. And not just that, it can attack the people coming at it through negativity. Uh, yeah, and that's what I see. I've seen movies uh, where the priest, the Catholic priest, and they're fighting these demons. And to me, it's like this: the Catholic Church has a lot of hidden secrets, and I think that in reality, the reason there's so much activity within the Catholic Church is because they allow it. When they built the church, they allowed any people that believed in whatever they believed to come to their church, right? So they can worship and praise whatever they believed in also. That's how it originally got created. So that's why there's so much activity within the Catholic Church, because it's still that way. They have idolism, they have statues, and they have certain statues where, so there were certain, um, how should I say, cultures in Mexico, they're the worship goddesses, right? You look at like the Virgin Mary, or they got so many of them, so many different females that they worship, saints that they worship. Well, that right there is a form of, how should I say, the one that which you worship is Jesus Christ. But that's why there's so much activity within the church, that people are getting spiritually attacked. You're seeing unclean spirits within the church. It's because they're allowing it in there. So when you see the movies of the people that are being demonized, especially when it's a preacher or a priest that's Catholic trying to fight demons, well, they're really not winning. If they have the mentality that the priesthood is just a job, what is it saying? It's saying that when they go fight spiritually, they're fighting without faith, because they're not placing Jesus Christ first, especially if they consider it just a job, right? So that's why they catch hell, right? Because they're not doing it through Jesus. They're not doing it truly in faith of Jesus Christ. So when they go try to help out somebody that's being possessed or is possessed, they can free the demon, because the demon knows what they're about. So it stays there because it knows that Jesus Christ is not with them. That's why they take it long. They say they got to do so many procedures and all this stuff. No, they're just given that power. You can overcome anything demonic through a love foundation. I'm just letting you know. Love. Yes, how you doing? Cleanup time. How you doing, Delina? How you doing, brother Al? And that's what I'm sharing with y'all tonight. You've seen the movies uh, where the Catholic priest goes in there and they're supposedly batting demon. It don't take that. When you have Jesus Christ with you, it does not take that long to get rid of an unclean spirit or something demonic off of somebody. Not unless, I mean, to me, of what I've witnessed, it doesn't take that long. They'll flee real fast, especially when you say a tie bind and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name, that you living the right life. You don't have no spiritual openings. you're maintaining your love foundation and doing it through Jesus Christ, I see immediate results of what I witnessed, what I experienced, the spiritual battles. Not unless there is some kind of jurisdiction that might have over the individual, or maybe the individual was practicing something, right? They might have been dabbling on something, uh, witchcraft, necromancy, or one of the family members was dabbling on witchcraft and necromancy, in which they send uh, this, I call it the soul collector, the demon's soul collector, to go instead to buy themselves time. They send it to one of their children. So in that sense of a way, it might have some kind of jurisdiction over the situation of what's happening. Yes, and I'm just saying that when I fought spiritually or run into somebody that's got a negative attachment on them, that the demonic spirit shows itself to me through them. It might say something to me that only I know that might have happened when I was a kid, in which I know that's a demon, right? Like basically they do that to mock you. So that's when I go into spiritual battle and I say, I love you, or I say, God bless you. I said, I love you, or God bless you, and they take off because they already know what the next thing I'm going to say to them. If they don't flee, it will be, I tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name, in which they won't be able to do anything more to that individual, and the individual will be free. And they don't want uh, for you to do that to them. So they, instead of you tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, they flee. They leave. Yes. Uh, it's like a lot of things that the teachers there is basically weakening you, weakening your armor, weakening you spiritually, and it's kind of like they want you to be live in fear. They want you to give power to the unseen forces because of fear. That's what fear does, is give power. You do the opposite. I remember when the nun, the Mother Teresa, locked me up in this dark closet, and I think I've shared the story with y'all. When I was a kid, that you would lock me up in this closet at the parish hall, lock me up in there in the darkness, be there for 3 hours with no, couldn't go use the restroom, even though if I needed to use the restroom, she just had me locked in there, as some form of punishment. Then when she opened the door, she had a smile on her face, and I could see that the certain glare in the eyes where I know that she had a negative attachment. And she said, "Are you afraid?" And I said, "No, Jesus is with me." She would close the door, leave me there for a couple of more hours. It happened during the summer. I would go tell my mom what was happening. She's like, "You probably deserve what she's doing to you." But no, she was trying to install fear. But I did not have fear within me. No matter, it's not. I wasn't. I've never been afraid of the dark. That's a thing, And she would get pissed off. Excuse me. She would get pissed off because I would say Jesus Christ is with me. You figure if I'm saying to her Jesus Christ is with me, that's letting her know that, hey, I'm a child of God. But no, she tried to continue to install fear by keep on locking me in this dark room that was pitch black. When I was in there, I wasn't fearing, so I pray to God. I pray to God. So if there was anything unclean inside that room, nothing was happening because as I prayed to Jesus Christ, He was protecting me. No, Mother Teresa was a female. When that happened to me, I was a kid. I was let me see what grade I was in. I think I might have been in third grade. It was during the summer, or the parish hall will open up the parish hall for whoever wanted to send their kids to summer camp. So my mom would always send us to summer camp. During summer camp, you learn about the certain stories of the Bible. They have a little intermission. You play games, and then we'll go to the swimming pool like midday. Then we come back, and by like around 3, it was like going to regular school. Uh, so by 3:30, we get sent home. You know. So yeah, I witnessed there were some homosexuals there. Some of the instructors, uh, you know, you didn't try to, but there was one of them that I believe was a bad influence, and they would call him a Big Bird. That's what they would call him. But you could tell he was a homosexual. Uh, he acted like a homosexual, and he was mean as hell. He was always messing with my cousins. My cousins were kids. He was already up there in age, and my cousins, he was always messing with my cousins that they always wanted to beat him up. But this guy was like real tall, like 6'6", 6'7", and he was always messing with certain kids. Like I guess because maybe he got bullied or something because of his homosexuality. Uh, his name was Big Bird. Uh, well, that's what they call him because he looked like Big Bird from Sesame Street. you know. But yeah, he was real mean. I mean, it's like I would tell my mom, I said, "Mom, I don't want to go to summer camp." So they just want to throw me in a dark room, and then they want to ask me if I'm scared, and I tell them I'm not scared. The one that ran the parasol, she told me one time, said, "How come you just don't tell her that you're afraid? If you tell her that you're afraid, then she'll stop messing with you." But no, because I knew what they were trying to do. She was a a a lesbian, the person that ran that. So look at the people that are running it. You had a lesbian running it. You had a big bird homosexual guy running havoc on the children. Messing with kids, like literally smacking them in the head. Being mean. You know, and then you had this nun. This what when I seen the nun movie. It's like, man, they just don't know the encounter I had with the nun, that she was so wicked, so evil, that even when I was older, during the military, when I believe when she passed away, she came to visit me, and she was standing in my room looking at me the same way she would looked at me when I was younger. I looked at her and I told her, "I type on and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name," and she fled real quick. Could it be a possibility that maybe she was a witch? Since they will allow any kind of members, right, that believe in other things, join their convent. Or they're infiltrated with witches and warlocks. Okay, corner of the cop identified. Fire on the way. Brrr, brrr. Target, ceasefire. I said, Mr. Corner of the Cob out of the way. I'm just saying that that's what I feel. That's what's in affiliation with the church. So when a priest rejects you when you're trying to get spiritual help, it's because they already know, because they know what their affiliation is. They know what the church is about. They know what the ones in charge, what they believe in, what they truly worship. Uh, and I believe That's why sometimes people get rejected from the church. Yeah, and that's how the like when they had the what do you call it? The not the crusades, but when people were trying to preach about religion and they were going out throughout the world, they had to find a way to get people that believed in other things, like in Mexico, right? From the Mayans, the Aztecs, uh, and all the other cultures that are out there. They had to find a way to bring these people, certain tribes in Africa that were cannibalistic, right? In which they had to find a way to bring these people in to the church, to come visit the church, to become members of the church. So they had to put these other things in place so they'll be able to continue to worship what they truly worship. Sometimes you will see dark witches sitting in the front of the church, dressed all in black with veils. People say, "Oh, they're just a woman that are widows, widows, and there's all the widows are sitting up in the front." That's not what I witnessed. You know, I mean, to me, in the Bible it says, "Who are you married to?" Right? Who are you married to? If who are you married to on earth, and when you go into heaven, who are you going to be married to? We're all going to be married to Jesus Christ, right? Because He's the Father. So when these women are dressed all in black up there, to me, that's not what I felt. The feeling that I would get is that a lot of these women that were up there were the dark witches. That they're up there in front of the church, and still continuing to worship what they worship. Yes, thank you, brother Dogman TP Hunting. So that's why there's a lot of activity. When people ask me, what church do you belong? What religion do you? It's not about the religion. It's about your relationship with Jesus Christ. It's important right now because there's a lot of church religions that Jesus Christ will find a fault in them, and I see a lot of faults within a lot of how should I say churches. So you don't want to be caught up with that, right? You don't want to be affiliated with that, so you have to do your own thing. Your own church is within yourself. So long you have your relationship with Jesus Christ, uh, that's the the true church is Jesus Christ. He's the one that will train you spiritually and make you be aware of what's going on. You know, it'll give you the spiritual knowledge of what's good and what's wrong. He'll let you know. He's your guide. But that's what I witness. And I know I'm getting off the topic, but of what I was speaking of, but it has to do with this. That's why I'm bringing it this way to y'all. I'm bringing it to y'all spiritual real. So basically, what I'm saying is this: if there was people that worship Lucifer and demons within the church, then what other things could be there within the church, infiltrating the people that truly believe in Jesus Christ? You know how hard it is to listen to the preacher to truly believe Jesus Christ if it's kind of like a house. A church is a foundation. How are you going to be peaceful in your own home if it's being infiltrated by the unseen enemy? Well, that's a church. The foundation of that church is infiltrated. So how can you worship Jesus Christ when there's so many other people that are believing other things within that church, that you can feel the presence of the unclean spirits, dark shadow figures, demonic spirits that are in there that might be on some of the members of the church? It will be hard because your senses is telling you there's danger around you. So you can't really concentrate on praising Jesus Christ, right? Because there's so many people that might be worshiping other things around you. And then when they say to do a sign of peace, to shake hands with the people that are around you, you shake a hand and it's going to be a transfer of spirits, right? Because the person you might be shaking hands with could be one of those individuals that's believing in other things or worshiping something else. Sorry about that. Your relative, Sister Delana. Uh, Maybe she can tune in one day, or you can invite her. You know, we're gonna have a spiritual talk here. Yeah, sooner or later, right? If she continues to do the works and you stand your ground and stop accepting the negativity, that negativity will go back to her, and you know, it's not good. Just put it that way. When it goes back, it will go back to the threat she's trying to what she's trying to throw your way. It's going to go back to her seven times fold. You continue to maintain your law foundation regardless of whatever she's trying to do or say. It was just going to get her more upset because you're not accepting it anymore. So once she realizes that whatever she's doing is not bothering you no more, it's just she'll eventually going to stop because you're not allowing it no more. You're like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm done. Yes, yes, two shadows. Well, Sister Delana, I can tell you firsthand that there's family members within own family or somebody within the family that dabbled in the dark arts, black magic, or might have been affiliated in some kind of way in that manner. That when it's their time, when the soul collector comes for them, that they want to buy more time. They're not ready to go. Whatever deal they made with these demons, when they come to collect their soul, which means that's the day they're going to die, they want to buy more time. So they'll send the collector, the soul collector, or demon, to a family member, somebody within their bloodline, to go raise havoc on them, and possibly, at times, a person can die because of that, because that's part of the bloodline. That's why we all have to make a spiritual stance, cut those negative ties of anybody in our past. It doesn't matter what relative it was. We cut the negative ties of whatever they were worshiping or whatever they were dabbling in, and we tie bound and rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name. And we make a spiritual dance of whatever they were doing. Does not pertain to us because we're our own people. We're our own person, and we cut those negative ties. We forgive them, and we leave it up to God to handle the situation. He knows all spirits. So in that way, it will be handled that way spiritually through Jesus Christ. Sorry about that, Kelsey Freights. I am 55 years old, brother Lucas. I've been fighting spiritually all my life since I was a kid. Uh, I remember everything that's happened to me, but I've been fighting spiritually all my life. Been a combat. All my life since I was a kid, I fought the unseen forces of the balance, it were whether it was something demonic, whether it was witches or warlocks, Those that dabble in the dark arts, I faced them since I was a kid, all the way up to now. And this is what I do, the spiritual works. And I like doing it late at this time frame. Here in Texas, it is 2:31 in the morning. So I go live at this time frame uh, because for a very long time, people try to put the thing out there. Hey, you gotta go to sleep because this is the witching hour. You gotta go to sleep because this is a demonic hour. They want to install fear on you. Well, I'm just showing y'all because we're talking here spiritually, placing Jesus Christ first. That it doesn't matter what time it is. Jesus Christ is always with you. Don't give power through fear. Don't let somebody, just like I didn't let that nun that would lock me up in the dark room, install fear on me. She would open the door. She would get pissed off every time she asked me, "Are you afraid?" I said, "No, Jesus Christ is with me." She would get mad, because she couldn't install fear on me because I knew Jesus Christ was with me, and I would go into prayer. She opened the door. "What are you doing?" And I would say, "I'm praying." She would get mad and close the door because what she was trying to do wasn't working. But that was a representative. That when you hear about a person in cheap clothing, that's what she was representing. She was a wolf in sheep's clothing because she was representing the other side of the balance because she was trying to install fear on me. I guess they used her, they targeted me through spiritual hit, and I showed that they couldn't touch me spiritually because I placed Jesus Christ first even then. Yeah, I'm just being honest with you. I've always been this way. I am right now. I'm straight up. I'm not gonna BS somebody. Every time she asks me, "Oh, you're afraid?" I said, "No, Jesus Christ is with me." She'll get mad, close it. She'll open the door. "What are you doing?" Like 2 hours later, 3 hours later, after being in there, she wouldn't even let me go to the restroom. Uh, what are you doing? "I'm praying." She'll slam the door. I'll be there like all day in the closet. You know, the lady that was in charge, she would be laughing. She'd be laughing and like, "Go ahead and go use the restroom." It's kind of like, but it wouldn't work. You know, she had the audacity to tell me, "Just tell her you're afraid." But she was a lesbian, and we know how can be a lesbian be in charge of a parish hall when they're living in sin? How can somebody be up there, right? If they're living in sin, and all the things that we're trying to install was fear, or for you to be afraid of things. That's what they were trying to do. It didn't work uh, with me. It just made me stronger in faith. I'm telling you, brother Al Gore. Like I was showing this ring that I bought from a friend Peter Limmer's. Since we're talking, this topic today is lycanthrope, werewolf, skinwalker, shapeshifters, anything that has the ability to manifest. So I was showing off this ring that I got here of this werewolf. Um, I bought it from a friend of mine, and I have a necklace here. Just a matching set, just for tonight. I put it on because of what we're talking about. It doesn't matter what you're wearing; it's about what's within you, right? The faith that's within you. That's what people don't understand. I can be wearing this necklace, I can be wearing my crystals, but it's what's within you that matters, right? What's within your foundation, how you are as a person, that is going to overcome the lycanthrope, the werewolf, the dogman, shapeshifter, skinwalker, the nahual, any kind of manifestation that you decide to take. It's the faith that's within you that's going to be able to overcome it through Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's that is because it's, I'm gonna be honest, of what I witnessed, I've always had the spiritual gift of discernment to be able to see things. And I always see in the Catholic Church where there's demonic, how should I say, the unclean spirits or demonic spirits that were up there in the ceilings of the church, and then they'll fly down, go into a person. I was able to see these things, and that's why I didn't like going to that church. It was called Lady of Guadalupe, but it was the old church um, that was like this, and then they took down the church and they rebuilt it and built a new one. But that's the kind of activity that I would see within the church. Yeah, I got tattoos also. You know, it's that's the flesh. All that's going to stay behind. The flesh is going to stay behind. Uh, we're going to be living in spirit, right? The flesh stays behind. But yes, sometimes because the symbols that you're tatted on your body could be. Uh, I could see where people will say something like that, but it's what's within your heart that matters. I could have wounds from the military, or what I did in the military when I fought in the battle of Medina Ridge. Uh, that could stop me from making it into the kingdom of heaven. But I prayed. I even prayed for the people afterwards. Uh, but I know that Jesus Christ is real. He's still with me. He's aiding me, guiding me out of situations, spiritual situations, and I'm here. You know, there's no religion that's perfect. You got the Mormons, that's a man-made, and now that right there is man-made. It says in the Bible you can add to the Bible, and you can take away from the Bible. That's why I say have your relationship with Jesus Christ. He'll show you. He'll teach you. He'll teach you. I'm letting you know. He'll show you things even before they happen ahead of time. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm gonna be honest with you. You have the capability that's within you, right? To to bless the water and baptize yourself if you're truly giving yourself to Jesus Christ 100%. He knows. He knows your heart. He knows your heart. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I had the encounter of what happened to me over there in Elms Grove, that I made it home. I went to the shower, opened up the shower, and I started praying for the Heavenly Father to bless the water, to cleanse me from anything negative, to bless the water. So if there's anything negative that attached itself to me, so I could be free from any kind of negative attachment, for Him to bless the water. You know, we have that ability. I blessed a a uh, a bottled water one day. I can share the stories. I've shared the stories with y'all. For those that are loyal listeners, uh, when I helped the man across the bridge. I can say the story if y'all want to listen to the story of what happened that day. Uh, Sister Delana, I've heard the whaler before numerous times. You know, I've seen her all throughout my life. I believe this whaler is the one that holds the balance. The balance of of good and evil. That's the reason she wails a lot. That she's always crying because the battle of good and evil. There's people that are they die daily, right? That's what she's crying. Um, who this individual that's holding the scale of the balance? I don't know who she is, but imagine if she's witnessing spiritually all the bad things that are happening, which she knows that there's people that are dying within the balance, and maybe it's her job to cry for for the people that die horrible deaths or because they're dying within the balance. But when you hear her, it's because she's letting you know that's why she wails, I believe, is to let you know that there's danger around. If you're spiritually inclined and you hear the wailer, just like that evening, she was wailing. My TC tried to jump out of the tank. I grabbed him and pulled him down, and I told him no. So that's not what we're taught to do. We're taught to stay in the tank, hold on to something, just in case the tank flips. I believe if he would have tried to jump off the tank, because the tank weighs 65 tons, that's heavy, and it's going to flip fast and it's going to be too late. That if I wouldn't have hold him down, that something might have happened to him. We would have been hurt, injured, but something would have happened to him. You know, luckily, spiritually, I was showed a picture, an image of us flipping before it happened, and I was able to traverse my turret to the left when it happened. Like maybe I seen the image, I traversed it, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And this when the tank flipped, and the only thing that was holding us up was a gun tube that was stuck in the sand. It literally got stuck in the sand, and that was what was holding us up from flipping over. No, I followed my spiritual instincts. But yes, it was scary. Like I should say, my driver was scared when he heard the woman crying. We're in the middle of the desert, pitch black out there. We're in Fort Owen, California. We're stuck with the tank fixing to flip. I'm sitting on the breach. My loader's sitting on the wall, and my TC is hanging on because we're fixing to flip. And I tell the driver, I say, just keep on put the parking brake on, and just keep on holding on the brake. He was crying, you know, fear, right? That can bring negative things. I said everything's going to be all right. So I'll start praying. Our Father, and he was like, we go hear the woman crying outside, going around like around the tank because she was. I hear somebody crying out here. My driver, she's over here in front where I'm at. He was young. He had just barely joined the military. So he was a Puerto Rican. He's on my friends list. He was like, "What the f is that?" I said, "Don't worry about it." And I just stay calm, stay relaxed. It's a woman crying outside. I said, "Don't worry about it." And I looked at everybody was scared. I could see it in their face. But me, I've dealt with this kind of things all throughout my life. So I went into prayer. As I went into prayer, the wailing kind of like went away. Yes, brother, true story. Somebody says, do werewolves grow bigger than a dog man? Uh, the only thing I can tell you about a werewolf, a dog man, a lycanthrope is that they're all the same thing. Uh, It's the manifestations they can take. They can manifest to be short, regular size, supersized. We're talking about, I've seen one during the day. This sucker had to be 15 foot tall, right? And he's got his mouth open, kind of like the face looked like a lycanthrope, but the mouth was open, kind of like a crocodile. It's like it didn't fully manifest to look like a what you want to call a werewolf, because it looked like part werewolf, and but the mouth looked like a crocodile. You know how a crocodile opens his mouth? We just had his mouth open, looking at me. I seen it because I was doing a video, and I'm looking at it, and we're looking at each other for about 5 minutes because I'm visually seeing it for 5 minutes. It's looking at me, and I'm looking at it for about 5 minutes. It's in the by the trees, in the trees, and it's massive. And I said to myself, I know that's pretty big. You know, it wouldn't take that long for it to reach me, as big as it is. Probably take like 10 steps, and it's right there by me, you know. And we were like, I would say like 60, 70 feet away, right? So as I'm looking at it, I do the spiritual test, you know, and I say, because we looked at each other for 5 minutes, and I have my protection, and he's just looking at me, and I say, I tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. When I said that, it was gone. There was no sulfur. It just disappeared, but it was massive. It reminded me of how they look on the what do you call it? The pyramids, the color, the what do you call that? Where they got the little pictures, how the dogmen supposedly looked, and how they had one that looked like a crocodile from the face, you know, in the form of human, how tall, you know, skyroglyphics or something like that, right? Uh, I put it to the test, you know, and I mean it when I say, yeah, hieroglyphics. You put it to the test, and I did. It was, I mean, because it was looking real, and I put it to the test spiritually, and I said, we're looking at each other for about 5 minutes. I'm not moving forward, and it's not coming at me. We're just looking at each other. And I said, I type out a rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, and it vanished. But it was massive. Imagine if I would have left an opening of fear, it would have spiritually attacked me. Or if I left an opening of believing what I'm seeing, you know. It's one of those situations that it manifested a certain way that you're like, wait a moment. I don't even think uh, the manifestation, and it's standing on twos, that this manifestation is, I know it's not a real animal, so I'm going to put it to the test. I said, I type bind and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name with no fear, but through Jesus Christ, right? And it disappeared. How you doing, Katie? Yes. Well, I am going to look back into the video. Uh, Maybe I might have captured it on video. It's an old video. I will have to look to see how I could find it in there, but it was massive. As big as that was, I say 15 feet in the air, 15 feet. It was big, 13, 15 feet. Because when I got close after it disappeared, I walked towards that tree, and it was a big tree, but it was massive. It's kind of like it reminds you sometimes. I have a picture that I'm going to place after I do this video of You know what? You ever seen Scooby Doo? The first Scooby Doo movie that they made, where there was some kind of dog man in it. You ever seen that movie, Scooby Doo, where there was like a pyramid? They were in Mexico, and they they uh, they showed some kind of dog-like creature, you know, like a Scrappy. It turned big, and there was like this dog man running around, werewolves running around, or they were called. They might have been called dogmans there, right? On a Scooby Doo movie. Well, I have a picture of something that I caught in the woods that looks kind of like that movie, like how they look in the cartoon movie. How you doing, Sister Nellie Turner? How you doing this evening or this morning, should I say? I have a picture that is in the woods, and you can see it standing right there, and it's you can see through it, but you can see its silhouette. That is not something that's in the flesh. That is something that's in disembodied form. What I'll do is I'll create a short reel, and I'll place it, the original picture, in different, uh, how should I say, different pictures with what's the word I'm looking for? With different filters on it, so y'all can see it. It's an old picture from Mel's Grove, but this other was super sub. A lot of these pictures, I have them on spiritual encrypted encounters. I know I got targeted massively when I first came into to doing my. You see, I was my positive spiritualist must my original uh, channel I had, or should I say, on Facebook, my group. So I was getting since I talk spiritually, and nobody wants to bring the spiritual aspect into anything. I was being targeted by people from the cryptic community because they believe they're 100% flesh, and I was getting attacked from people from the paranormal community because the witches and warlocks were getting offended me bringing in Jesus Christ into the picture. It, and it was crazy. They attacked me, that my group, they attacked my Facebook, that I apparently lost my original Facebook, which erased my group, my original positive spiritualist. But I had everything backed up, so I created it again. They came at me again, and I rebuilt it again, and it stopped growing because they kept on reporting it, and it just stopped growing. When you get put a lot of complaint on you, Facebook does something to your group that it stops growing. So I said to myself, what should I do? And I already know God doesn't want me to give up uh, trying to awaken my brothers and sisters. So I created spiritual and cryptid encounters. The reason I created spiritual and cryptid, she has to put spiritual first, is because it was the cryptid community that were attacking me. I didn't go into their community because I was a believer in Bigfoot or a believer in a dog man. I was doing live worker live feeds of the world and live worker live feeds. That's what I will be on. And there was a woman that showed a photo that I placed to her husband, and her husband was in the crypto community. So he said, "Hey, you need to get in touch with Vic Kundov." I didn't know who Vic Kundov was. Uh, the guy's name was Al. They call him Big Al. So I got in hold with Vic Kundov, and I spoke to him. and that's when I did Dogman Encounters 53. I just didn't know. He left a lot of things out, in which he was just trying to make it seem, I guess, that the Bigfoot or the Dogman was just a flesh being. But in the show, if you watch it, I say that I believe it was something demonic, and he left that there, which I appreciate that at least he left that, but he didn't share everything that I was going through there. And I wish he would have shared it. I'm thinking if he would have shared it the way I was telling him the story, that it would have been good, in a way that he would have gotten a lot more views. Uh, because when it's in the truth, people are going to understand this. But of course, you have people that believe that these dogmen are 100% flesh. Just like there's people that believe cryptids are 100% flesh. People that believe that aliens are 100, they're real. So that's why I created this group, Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, just to let people know that no matter how they came at me, it wasn't going to stop me from doing the works that I do. And here I am, still doing my works, regardless of whether they like it or not. You know, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for Jesus Christ and for my brothers and sisters that want to get awakened. If they don't want to awaken, that's on them. I'm doing it for my brothers and sisters that they want to be free from any kind of form of bondage, oppression. I'm trying to help out my brothers and sisters. This is what Spiritual Encrypted Encounters is about. But its original name was Positive Spiritualist. If you look, it'll say Spiritual Encrypted Encounters / Positive Spiritualist. But just somebody wanted me to share a story about. Yes, I can share the story, Brother Al. It was there was a lot of things that were happening, brother and sisters, at that time. When this happened, I was already 17 years old, and it's talking about when I was being chased by werewolves. Um, as y'all know, I lost my mother. I've seen a lot of things before I lost my mother. Spiritual warfare. I was seeing werewolf-like beings. I was seeing beings that looked like Bigfoot, but they had red eyes, and the only time they would come out was at nighttime, right? And this was up like towards in Lubbock. But I don't know which stories is the one you want me to talk about, brother Al. Is it the story when I was up in Lubbock, or is it the story of what happened to me when I went to go talk to the priest? You let me know, and I'll go with it. No, I don't. I don't do dark waters. I don't. I don't know. I'm not affiliated with dark waters. I do my works, because we believe in two different things. I believe in Jesus Christ, and He does other things that are against Jesus Christ. That's why I don't work with dark waters. He practices other things, and I just do my works. You know what I do spiritually. I think I tried to listen to one of his shows one time, and he was interviewing somebody, and he started cussing at the person he was interviewing, and then he kicked him off the show. So when I seen that, it's like, man, I don't. This guy, what's up with this guy? So spiritually, it's like, I don't know, and I don't know what the guy was telling him, but he put him off his show, One thing that I know is when a person cusses a lot, that they can't say a story without cussing. They get pissed off at somebody and start cussing. To me, just to me, that's a person that has a lot of spiritual openings. The way I see it is, uh, do unto others how you want to do unto you. You know what I'm saying? Oh yes, okay, here we go. Here you go. At this time was after my mother's death. I was already 17. Was possibly older. I was 18. I'm thinking because I was already living by myself. My sister had gotten married and left to Dallas, and I was kind of sad, because I was living by myself in my house, and at that time I didn't know what I was going to do, whether I was going to join the military or not. Uh, so I was walking to my aunt's house. It was nighttime. My cousin will get off at work. He used to work at churches, so sometimes when he get off of work, he'll bring food from work. And at that time, the system that was in play was the Nintendo six. I think it was a Nintendo or Super Nintendo, and I would go over there with him, and he would play this game called Contra. Contra. I don't know if you all remember that. And we'll play two players, and I play with him, and we'll be there, you know, playing. Well, that night I was going to his house. As I was walking through the block of, it was the first block. As I turned down First Street, I turned down their street. As I was walking down the first block, I could feel something. I heard some movement. My spirit, I should have my instincts let me know something was around me because my hair stood up. So when I looked like this, I literally seen somebody tall literally climb over the fence, like just step right over it. And this individual's wearing pants, but he has no shirt on. But his face was that of a like a werewolf. And I'm looking at him, as he's crossing the fence, I'm looking at him, and then I look to the right. I seen two other ones. They had no shirts, but they look different than him. But their face looked beastly. So they were like literally following me. So I ran to the church, the Catholic church. They have the home where the priest lives. So I go and I'm banging on his door. I mean, I seen three. It could have been possibly more. But they were following me. All I know is I seen three that were like that. They had like beastly faces. The werewolf one, the other one looked kind of. One of them kind of looked like a face of a pig. You know. Back then they didn't have the technologies for masks to look realistic. You know, in that nature. Uh, So to me, I was trying to figure out what was going on. So I go back on the priest. To me, the first thing that I thought about was something demonic, you know, demonic in nature. So the priest opens the door. His name is Father Ralph. And I say, Father, there's something following me. Can you help me? And he takes me to the church. He puts me in the room, closes the door. He's sitting on the desk in front of me. And what's weird about this, brothers and sisters, is that Father Ralph, he had tattoos in his arm. That I could see the tattoos that he had on his arm that day. Uh, and he's got his glasses on, and he's asking me, telling him that I think some demons are following me. Then I describe how they looked, and he's like, "Are you on drugs?" I said, "No, Father." And he's like, are you drinking? I said, "No, Father." So I was going to my cousin's house, and I heard some movement behind me. I turned around, I see one climbing the fence. He was had pants, and he had the body, had no shirt, and he had the face of a wolf. And I seen other ones to the right side of me that were following me too. They were in the alley. So he's like, it's just probably in your imagination. He said, I know that you went through something traumatic because of what happened to your mother. And so it's probably just your imagination playing games on you, you know. That's what he tells me. So when he's telling me this, I could see through his glasses the door open. And through his glasses, as Father Rouse sees the door open, I could see those beastly beings through his glasses. So as Father Ralph is seeing them, he starts sweating. Like you can see the sweat just coming down his face where he's scared. And his eyes are wide open. And then the door closes. He gets so scared, instead of praying for me or fighting spiritually for me, he kicks me out of the church. He tells me to leave, right? So I'm like, he's kicking me out, sending me to the wolves, right? Literally, right? You want to say the term, sending me to the wolves. So the only thing I do is what I know what to do, the sign of the cross. You know, I jumped outside the door and I was looking, there was nothing there. So I started running towards my aunt's house, which was from the church. It was 2 blocks away. I mean, yeah, 2 blocks away. I made it there. My cousins were there. My cousin was there, and there was this guy. All I remember is this guy said something to me, like insulting me, and that's all I remember. I don't remember nothing else. When I wake up the following day, wake up, a pocket knife is open in my hand, and there's blood on the pocket knife. And I'm trying to figure out how I got home. I don't even remember how I got home, you know. The next thing you know, I see my cousins come, my younger cousins, and they're like, hey, my mom said for you not to come to our house anymore because what happened. I was like, what do you mean what happened? He said, you don't remember what happened? I said, no. I said, you were throwing everybody around. You're beating up this guy named, there was this guy that I knew, the guy that insulted me, his name was Jab. And he said that I was beating the hell out of him. And then that they were trying to get me off of him, and they couldn't. And that I was throwing people around like I had, I guess, some kind of power, but I felt that this demonic beings, when I ran over there, they attached themselves to me, or you could say possessed, right? I said they broke 2x4s on my back. They were hitting me. My aunt was hitting me with a frying pan, and I don't remember nothing. Uh, and I just said okay, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened. You know, later on that day, the guy Jab comes to my house. He's black and blue. I mean, from the face, he's messed up bad, bruises everywhere. And I tell him I'm sorry. I said I don't know what happened. You know, and he's like, it's my fault. You know, I said something mean to you. It's my fault. You know, and that could have been the opening. That I believe that's when I got spiritually attacked. It's when he said when he insulted me, that I got upset. And when I got upset, there was a spiritual opening when I got spiritually attacked and used to as a weapon of destruction, right? So I'm looking at him, and you know, I didn't see no blood on him or nothing, just in that he was black and blue. So, you know, as the days went by, I went back to work. I was working at Walmart, and there was a friend of mine, or the receiving manager. He was like, I'm trying to find my dog. My dog's been missing for about 2 days now. And I said, I don't know where it's at. It's been missing. You know, as time goes by, after you don't remember something, you start remembering uh, bits and pieces, you know. So I remember he lived right there in the corner. His house was at the corner by the church. So I remember where I was walking a certain way, like I wasn't acting like a regular person. You could say I was acting beastly, right? And I'm walking by the house. This little chihuahua comes and starts biting me on the ankle. I just remember, which I asked God for forgiveness. I remember what I did to the dog, and it wasn't good. Just put it that way. Uh, I remember, I guess, putting the body underneath some branches, and I remember going through the alleys. I started running bits and pieces, and then I remembered how I got home. But it's kind of like I was being possessed. That's the best way I can describe it. And to this day, I remember what happened to me that day. And that's why I tell y'all not to leave no spiritual openings of anger, of fear, or given power of belief. Because at any given time, while you're leaving the spiritual openings, they can come at you in numbers and attack you, possess you, bond you. That's what happened to me when I was 18, I think, 18. But when you go through something like that, you know what to do, right? That's why I talk to you all about how I talk to y'all spiritually, how to be able to fight them spiritually, because I've experienced what they can do. And it's about how you are as an individual. If you're opening yourself to that, boom, they have control over you. Let me see some of the comments here. Mr. Buddy said he's had an encounter with something named a chameleon. You're welcome, brother Al. Um, I had a lot of anger, because of what happened in my family to my mother. I had a lot of vengeance. So that by itself, man, anger, vengeance. What does vengeance mean? That means that you plan to kill somebody, right? If death was what happened to a family member, then death is what's on your mind. You're ready to kill somebody. And wish, I'll share another story with y'all. I'm gonna say, God rest the souls of the people that are not amongst us, and my mother, and even my enemy. I'm gonna share another story with y'all, since we're talking about this. I was upset because vengeance was on my mind. Oh, the priest, he got me to go to a retreat after that. But I had already gone to a retreat with him when I was 17. When that happened, and he seen what he's saying, the priest, Brother Ralph, requested to leave the church from our town. And they requested his transfer, and they moved him from there somewhere else. So he requested to leave after that incident. Now, I know what happened to me, right? I wonder if anything happened to Father Ralph. I never found out. If he got spiritually attacked like I did. You know, if he's alive right now, Father Ralph, he'll probably be probably like 10 years older than me or 15 years older. I'm not sure if he's still alive. If he was alive, I would get in contact with him so he can verify the story that I'm talking about. Because I'm more than sure he will remember what he's seen. That's why I say to y'all, brothers and sisters, I witnessed them look like they were real, but then they freaking attacked me spiritually. You could say possessed me, right? That's what I'm telling y'all. That's why I say what I say, because I've been through it. To not to believe in everything that you're seeing. Because if they're demonic in nature, the belief factor will leave a spiritual opening for you to get spiritually attacked. The fear factor, spiritual opening for you to get spiritually attacked. And there's people that they're believing that they're blood creatures. I seen them to look one like a werewolf, the other one looked like a face of a pig. Those are manifestations that were taken, right? But just be careful what you believe in. That's all I can tell you. They know. It's kind of like I brushed against them. I survived that night. Thank God that I survived that night because I was fighting spiritually. Uh, once, you know, I survived that, I asked God for forgiveness. I went into prayer, and it's kind of like it's when I joined the military and I left with the military. But yeah, there was another incident that happened. Like I said, I had a lot of vengeance. There was a certain individual that I had vengeance for. I'll share that story with y'all. He was a policeman of my town. Him and his wife was sick with cancer, and he had gotten sick. And the church volunteered me and my brother to go cut their grass because they couldn't cut their grass. They need somebody to cut the grass. My brother didn't want to go, and I told him, okay, I'll go. You don't have that much grass. I mean, just the grass that he has in the front yard, and I needed to go clean the corral. He had a corral that had goats. I'm I'm 10 years old at the time, you know. I go over there, cut the grass. I go to the backyard. I'm cleaning up the corral, giving the goats food and water. And I look and I see the man laying on his bed through the window. So as I keep on cleaning, I hear the gate open and it closes, and he's there, and he puts a lock inside the gate. He places a lock. He grabs the machete from the corner pole. He looks at me. He starts swinging it violently. He starts walking towards me, and I mean, you could literally hear the machete going where he's swinging it violently. He looks at me and he starts laughing. And I ask him, what's so funny? And he just starts laughing again. And I said his name, his name was, they call him Nacho, but his name was Ignacio. And I said, what's the matter? What's so funny, Nacho? And he said, my name is, I said, that's not, Nacho's not here. No, he was in war also. He was in, I believe in Vietnam, or I know it was in Vietnam or Korean War, one of those wars. And I'm thinking maybe, you know, PTSD or something. So he's looking at me. Before I'm gonna go rewind some. You just remember where I left off. My dad and my mother, they used to be in a prayer group for the Catholic Church, and they'll go pray for people that were sick. and some they were being demonized. They were having unclean spirits on them. So they had a crucifix, and it was led by a priest. So they had gotten a call that there was a man that was a veteran, that every time he closed his eyes, he would see a man on a black horse. So he would start fighting the man on the black horse, but he was literally punching himself, beating himself up. And they were saying that it was being demonized. So they went over there, they prayed for him. I guess he was beating himself. My dad, I guess, hold him or something. And supposedly they casted the unclean spirit out of him. So he became a member of the church. Fast forwarded now, there's the same guy, right? He's laughing. He's laughing and he's looking at me and he says, I tricked them all. He's like, what do you mean you tricked them all? And he looked at me and he said, I'm a Santanista, which means Satanist. So he grabs the machete and he's looking at me and he says, I can kill you right now. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it, right? So he starts swinging, the machete starts coming towards me, swinging it very violently. And I told him to stop. I told him, I got a message for you. He said, after I give you the message, you can do whatever you want to do. And he said, what is that message? I told him, Jesus Christ told me to tell you, or at that time I said, God told me to tell you, if you take another step forward, that your life here on earth will be over. He tried to take a step forward. He couldn't. He was trying. He tried to lift the machete up to swing at me because he was only like 2 feet away from me. He couldn't. He couldn't move. So I was able to climb the corral when I started walking away. When I was walking away, he couldn't turn his head or nothing. He was like frozen. He told him, tell your parents. The only thing he could do is move his mouth. Tell your parents what happened here. They're not going to believe you. As I was walking away, he was still frozen. He couldn't move. I walked all the way home, which was like 8, 9, 10 blocks. Got home. I told my parents what happened. So we went back to the house. As we're there at the house, he comes out of his house and he's got a smirk on his face. And they confront him of what happened. And he just tells them, you know how kids are, they like to lie. So it got stuck there. It was either they're going to believe me or they believed him. So, and he was like a godfather of one of my brothers. I think it was my brother. So it's kind of like they didn't want to ruin the friendship. So they kind of like just left it alone. The reason I have vengeance with that guy is because of what he tried to do to me. But he was one of the reasons why a lot of things happened in my family where I lost my mother. That's why I had vengeance towards this guy. After that, he would come in his police squad car, park in front of our house. When my mother wasn't there or my father wasn't there, he would look at me and he'd show me his true identity. He'd start cussing at me, saying all kinds of bad things to me. And he would tell me I'm just a kid, I'm a nobody. Like I was trying to downgrade me. Then one day I told him, I said, one day, so I'm not going to be a kid anymore. So when that day happens, we're going to come. I'm going to come to you, and we're going to settle what you started. What you tried to do to me, we're going to settle that. And he would laugh at me. You know, I grew, joined the military, went to war, came back from war. I was in my dress screens, went back to my hometown to visit my brothers and sisters. I was driving. Where at a stop was a stoplight, and I seen him. I looked at him, and I just went like this, like, "Are you ready to handle business?" You know. When I did that to him, he had a Bronco, did a U-E, and took off real fast, like he was scared. Like I told him, I wasn't gonna be a kid all my life, right? I was ready to handle business with him, but he pushed out. You know, that's a guy I had to forgive, brothers and sisters. I didn't know that he had passed away. If you remember, I said a story where there was a man that got attacked on a bridge, and that he got up, something elevated him in the air and dropped him several times, and that when he came up to me, he said, "Next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you." Now, there's two possibilities of this. Either it was the spirit of the man or the demon that had him possessed that came and possessed that man on the bridge was the same demon that had him possessed that said the same thing to me, just letting me know that it was the same demon. So I forgave him. I forgave him uh, in true forgiveness. Once I forgave him, the heaviness, the hatred went away, the vengeance went away. I felt free. I felt the love foundation, and I felt I got blessed with the spiritual gift of discernment. Ah, man, and that feeling of love is awesome. In which I have how should I say, no feeling of messing with anger, with hatred, with vengeance at all. I just want to do the spiritual works that I do, of learn, gain wisdom and knowledge, and I would just want to share it to my brothers and sisters that are here that want to learn spiritually. I had to forgive somebody that was trying to, as I see it now, he could have had a spiritual opening and he was just being used by whatever had a spiritual grasp over him. So that's why I forgave him, because maybe he was a good guy. I mean, he had been to war also. Maybe he had a spiritual opening, whatever spiritual opening he had, because I've been there being attacked the way I did. I mean, he said he was a Santanista, a Satanist. Maybe that's what the opening was, what he was worshiping. But I had to forgive him in order for me to move on forward in my life. You understand? I didn't even know he passed away. They said that he suffered a horrible death. I don't know. All I know is that I had to forgive him in order for me to make myself right. Right? Because sometimes people plant negative seeds uh, to affect you. So that's why I try to dwell with negativity. I try my best not to go back and forth with anybody that is coming at me in a negative way, because negative will not make it positive. Uh, it's how you want to be as an individual. You're welcome, Sister Sashi. Huh, because that's what the message that was sent to me spiritually. I've always had a relationship with Jesus Christ, and it's kind of like this. I feel like I said that to him, but it's kind of like it was in me. I believe my hairs are standing up here. It's not a bad feeling of it's standing up because I believe it was an angelic presence that came in through me. They used me as a vessel, just like he was being used, or I got used through an angelic presence that froze him, whatever was within me, and then whatever was within me spiritually got me out of the situation I was in. Look at that. Just speaking about it, y'all. My hairs are standing up. Got goosebumps. Uh, Heavenly Father, he got me out of that situation. I don't know how he died. All I know is, what I hear, he suffered a horrible death. I mean, he was in military, uh, and he was a policeman after the military. You know, he'd been a policeman for a lot of years. Like I said, I really didn't know that. The only thing I knew that he had a lot of machismo, a lot of pride. You know, like he thought he was bad. You know, that he could, because he was wearing the badge of a cop, that he could mess with anybody. Because it was hard for me to forgive him, because he tormented me from when I was 10 all the way up till I left my town, which was 8 years of torment. He would send other officers that were to mess with me also. For example, imagine being in seventh grade, getting off a track meet. You know, by the time we get home, it's like 1 in the morning. I had no ride, so I had to walk home. You know, from the school. So as I'm walking home, imagine a squad car being posted up, and they hit you with the bright lights. And you know, you don't have no parents because your parents are gone. One's one's deceased and the other one's in prison. So I get hit by the brights, and it's a cop, and he looks at me, and he goes like this, like they're going to do something. I just ignore them and keep on walking. But there was times, because you know I was in track. There's times that I'll be walking, they flash me with the lights, they look at me, they pull out their gun, and they go like this, you know. So that's the town I grew up in, you know. A lot of people don't know what I went through because I would keep everything to myself. You know, I was trying to survive, and it wasn't just about me. It was about taking care of my brothers and sisters, uh, my cousins. You know, Jesus Carvajal that comes on here. Uh, he he was there, and his brother, my other cousin Joe, they were there to witness the, how should I say, the threats. I mean, they were hired people to come after us. Uh, they're paying, just people will do anything for money there. So people try to come attack us or fight us, you know, in which we defended ourselves against them. But there was a bigger picture behind all this. There was this was about an insurance fraud. You know, I found out found out this through the military afterwards. After I come back from war, I was at a bar. There was these cops that came out of nowhere. They surrounded me. There was like four of them that tell me that I didn't leave town. If I don't leave town, something else is going to happen. I pull up my ID, showed them my military ID. He said, I don't think you want to mess with the government. Said, and they say, you leave town, something bad is going to happen to you tonight. So I called my immediate supervisor, which was my sergeant in charge of me, and I let him know what's going on. He's like, what do you mean what's going on? It's like, this guy surrounded me. I gave them their names. Said, telling me I don't leave town, that something bad is going to happen to me. And he's just like, hey, well, just be careful, you know, and this, you know, we'll do an investigation to find out what's going on. And they brought it on the log. You know, you have to report it. And as they report it, it goes higher. So I'm there, you know, and I said, I'm not leaving nowhere. So I know who you are. So I'm not leaving nowhere. So I'm here visiting my brother and sister. So they leave. So, okay, we warned you. So I'm sitting in the bar, and I go to the restaurant. There's this guy that comes in there, a big guy that I know who they are because it's a small town. He comes, steps on my foot on purpose, and he's looking at me. He's putting all his weight on my foot. And me, I've already been in 40 Badingo fights. So I could easily take this guy, but I feel sorry for this guy because he was kind of illiterate. He's always been like a little slow or sick, slow. You could say mental retardation of some sort. And I feel sorry for the guy. I said, man, I don't want to hurt him, right? So I go out there, back inside. I'm in the bar, and then there's a bunch of guys, and they tell me, "What do you want? How you want to handle this? You want to handle it now, or you want to handle it afterwards?" I said, "You know what? I'm just gonna drink some beers. The only thing I gotta tell you is this: I don't care how many you are. The only thing I can tell you is this: I won't be held accountable for my actions or what I do if you're outside when I leave this bar." So they were waiting for me outside. There was probably like, shoot, I said like 15 of them. So I'm there drinking my last beer. The bar had closed. Then a guy comes in the door and he's looking, and I see he's got a gun, right? A gun. He's looking in the bar, and I knew the guy. He was somebody that went to school with me. And he's like, hey, what you doing, bro? This is it. I said, well, I'm in a little bit of situation, Lupe. I said, what's going on? And I tell him the situation, what's going down. I said, look, I just came from war. My sisters. So I just came to visit them. I get here, I get surrounded by these cops. They said they're going to bring people to come after me. I said, I don't want to hurt anybody. I said, how about this? How about you tell you whoever's outside, because they're outside, tell them that I'll buy them any kind of beer they want. You go get a list of beer, and I'll buy some cases for everybody. They can tell the people that send them that they beat me up, and nobody has to get hurt. But I'll buy some beer, and they go drink the beer. So he said, I'll be right back. He went outside. Comes back inside. I say, hey, well, they want this beer, this kind of beer, this kind of beer, this kind of beer. I got you, man. I got you. I bought them the beers. They took he went outside with the beers, and he was like, it was nice seeing you again, Abe. You know, when I step outside, there was nobody there. I guess, sometimes it's better to negotiate, right? Because all those guys, I knew it's a small town. So I guess I'll bet the guys that I don't know how much money they offered them or what, but I guess beer was better for them. So I bought them cases of beer, and nothing happened. I didn't have to dirty my hands, or they didn't have to dirty their hands. And when I went back to Fort Hood, uh, they said they wanted to talk to me about something. My company commander wanted to talk to me about something. They got me to the company commander's office. They told me that they did an investigation, and that there was somebody from the police force that said some information to them, which led to it was dealing with an insurance fraud. And they told me, look, we found out what happened to your mother, and I'm just letting you know of what we found out, that insurance fraud, it was an insurance fraud. I said that insurance still exists, and your name is on it, and all your brother sisters' names on it still. So we think the reason that they were trying to do what they were trying to do to you is because they wanted to collect more insurance money. So they told me that I couldn't go back home, and since I was part of the government, that I wasn't allowed to go back home because of that. But my sergeant in charge, which the ones that I called, he told me, look, so I'm going to give you 2 weeks leave. I want you to go back. Don't tell nobody. Go back and get all your brothers and sisters out of there, because they're in danger. So while I was in the military, I was in the transition of buying a house. and I was staying in an apartment. So I moved my brother and sisters to Killeen, gave them my apartment. Then I got my home because I was an NCO. Got my home. I got all my brothers and sisters out of the valley because of that insurance claim. So you could say what happened in my family with my mother was dealing with that, and which is pure evil, man. It's like buying a lottery ticket that's rigged that you already know you're going to win, right? So that's how sick those individuals are, and I'm more than sure that those people that were involved, they suffered horrible deaths because Jesus Christ doesn't like wicked people. You know, he handles them accordingly. You're welcome, Sister Ivy Ramirez. So all my brothers and sisters, they live in Central Texas. They all live in Central Texas. My youngest brother, he's a principal at a elementary, and my younger sister, she's a dental assistant. We all made it, you know. Uh, we all made it. All my brothers and sisters. I let go of scholarships. I had a scholarship to go to Shriner College, Kerrville, Texas, a four-year scholarship for cross country because I was a good runner when I was younger. But I let it go because I had to look over my brothers and sisters. I had an offer to become a priest within the Catholic Church. They told me they could only take, I asked them a question, can you take care of my brothers and sisters? No, we can only take care of you. And I said, no, well, I don't want to be a priest. You know, I was 17 at the time they offered me this. And, you know, of course, something that I always wanted to do because of those before me, my godfathers that were ex-military, that were in World War II. I wanted to join the military, so that was the option that I took after, you know, everybody moved on. You know, I joined the military, and here I am. And I was in Killeen for from '91 all the way to 2015. After I had my encounter there in Elms Grove, then met my wife. You know, we clicked right off the bat. I was a single father. I moved to Temple, and we got married, and here I am living in Temple, Texas. Yes, we have to look when you get that kind of information from the government, right? Uh, there was some guys that came to me from the government that were in my company, and they were like, "Hey, we heard what happened to your family with your mother. So how about we just all go and we just go take care of business and just take everybody out over there?" You know, which was like probably like 30 people that wanted to go and just take all those people involved. We had names of people and everything that were involved. Just take them out. They're like, "You don't even have to do nothing. We'll do it." I said, "No. Uh, I'm just gonna leave it up to God. You know, just let it be." My instinct told me that somebody was trying to set me up for failure, so I chose not to. I just left that up to God. Thank you, Sister Nelly. Uh, I always look up. If I look up on my family like that, I also look up for my friends that way. You know, I'm a person with a good heart. You know, this love foundation. I'll place myself in the line of danger for somebody because that's how I am. I've always been that way. No, but Yes, everybody's doing good in my family. They all live in Killeen, where I used to live, because but I moved to Temple. They're still living in Killeen. They're doing good. Exactly, brother Renner. That's why I tell people that try to come up against me in a negative way. It's like, look, you don't know, you don't understand. You don't understand. It's not that I'm afraid of you. You just don't understand that you're not going to deal with me. Those people that practicing the witchcraft, the necromancy, the voodoo. So you're not going to deal with me. You're going to deal with Jesus Christ. He's my protector. I don't have to do nothing. Especially when I accept negativity. I'm not accepting the negativity. So whatever they're trying to do is going to go right back to them. Because I don't accept it. I believe in Jesus Christ. The only way somebody can affect you in some kind of way if you're believing in what they're believing. You know. And I don't believe in what they believe in. I believe in Jesus Christ. I place Jesus Christ first. So I don't worry uh, about anybody like that. Let me see some of the comments here real quick. And if anybody wants me to share something else with y'all, I will. Uh, Brother Randy. Brenner says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. God will avenge his children. We don't need to do it. That's 100% true, brother Runner. Spilling tea with Spunky and Sparky. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Caught a few minutes so for a while, and yes, we should all let go and let God. Sometimes it's hard, but it's what God wants. Yes. You just don't know in the situations that I've been placed, brothers and sisters. That's part of the balance, you know. Uh, when I say I've been fighting spiritually all my life, that's the God honest truth, you know. Which I got to see the other side of the balance, you know. Los brujos, las brujas, las lechuzas, uh, dark shadow figures, demonic beings that look like gargoyles, La Llorona, uh, this this uh, this being that was all black with bat-like wings or demonic wings. The wings were the same. The body texture was the same as the wings. He had sharp teeth, white teeth, with red eyes. You know, I could share that story if y'all like, but I think I've shared it to y'all. That was a demon, but I've been fighting spiritually all my life. I mean, tell me what do you want me to talk about? I'll share more. La Llorona, yes, I've had an experience with La Llorona. I can share the story with you of the Llorona. This when my mom was still alive. You know, it was raining outside where we live. 3 blocks away, there's a canal, which is man-made, and it's the water they will use it to irrigate the fields because there's a lot of agriculture where I used to live. And I was asleep in my room, and something woke me up because it hurt my ears. It was like a low pitch sound, and my when I woke up, my ears were ringing and they were hurting real bad. It was raining real hard. I look out the window and I could see the neighbors. And we had a long backyard, so I could see the light of the neighbors. And it's like, man, I was holding my ears, and then I said, it's just probably nothing. I went and lay down in the bed, and then I hear a woman crying. You know, she was like, I could hear. I was like, what is that? And then And it started getting closer. See, I'm mimicking. I'm good at mimicking the sounds. And then it was like, it stood right there by my door. You could hear her wailing. She was crying. And I was like, maybe there's this woman needs help, right? And I was gonna open the door, but it sounded too horrific, like. And then she said, Miss Leos, my children, like, oh shoot, because I knew what the Llorona was about. And I said, it's La Llorona. So I ran to the next room. My brothers were sleeping on a bunk bed. And that's like, shaking the freaking bunk bed. Hey, La Llorona, La Llorona. My brother, there's no Llorona. She passed by the window. She was wearing white. They seen her. They jumped off the freaking bed. We took her running. Our house was long. We're running. I went to grab my little sister. My little sister was only a couple of weeks old. They said that the Llorona goes after children that are not baptized. So I got my little sister, and I told my mom, La Llorona's here. She's like, there's no Llorona here. They seen her pass by the window. Shoot, my mom got on her knees. She started praying, saying the Our Father. And you hear she stands in the front door, and she's wailing like real loud, and everybody's scared. And she's just wailing and wailing and wailing. And I said, man, Mom, maybe it's a lady that needs help. And I'm gonna go open the door. And she's like, Huerco pendejo, don't open the door. It's La Llorona. She's like, stupid kid, do not open the door. That's La Llorona. So she was wailing there for a good 5 minutes. And then next thing you know, we see her take off through the front yard. She's wailing. Goes through she goes right through the link fence, through the fence, the link fence, right through it. So she goes up the street. We all go outside, running outside, and we're looking. Well, that's one thing about Mexicans. You know, you're scared at the moment, but then when you see it take off, you just want to go see where it looks, because how's it saying go? Curry asked to kill the cat. You fear they were scared at one moment, right? Then we'll still go outside to see where La Llorona went to. So we see her go up the street, up the hill. She takes a left and is wailing, and just going fast. It was raining. Then you see her here, like an accident. So we all walk up. We're all walking together up the street. It's like we're looking. And we see a semi truck that's just flipped sideways. We go up there. The cops show up. The semis ran into an Exxon, the gas station, and it was just the truck is in the middle of the highway. There's cops and all kinds of lights, and they're trying to figure out what happened. So the truck driver is saying that he was driving. When he was driving, that the reason he flipped over is that there was a woman that was dressed in white that passed in front of him, that he didn't want to hit the woman. So when he jerked the wheel, he lost control and it flipped over. And they were trying to see if he was drunk or anything like that. And then we said, yeah, we've seen this woman in white that he's talking about. But that's the encounter I had with the Llorona. I literally seen her outside my window. you know? I mean, when she was passing from window to window, it's like she wanted us to, maybe for me to open the door, but, uh, you know, I didn't, thank God that I didn't open the door. There's a story of the Llorona that we experienced there in our hometown. And she was spotted numerous times. There was one time that, because our town is small, so we could hear we could hear a lot of commotion outside. People are yelling. Like 3 blocks away, you could hear the people yelling. And they're like, yeah, we got the Llorona. We got her trapped inside the barn, you know. There was some truckers that had a barn. They said that they were guarding the doors. Said, we seen her go inside the barn. We got her trapped in here. Everybody come check it out. We're going to open up the doors. The Llorona's trapped in here, you know. So when they opened the doors in the garage thing, the barn thing, there was no Llorona. She's a spirit, you know. There was nobody in there. Sometimes you would get spotted down their canal, going down the streets, all dressed in white, wailing, down San Francisco Street, all the way through, wailing. Uh, but in our hometown, you know, it's, it's crazy. A lot of activity like that happens. But I hope you all enjoyed the story of the Llorona. You know, I know it was supposed to be about werewolves. My ring about from brother Peter Lemos is a werewolf. I have a meshing little neck pendant here with black obsidian. It looks like a tooth. Uh, because tonight's show was supposed to be about Lycanthorpe, werewolf, shapeshifters, skinwalkers. But you know, sometimes you just go with the flow of things and talk whatever comes naturally, right? Yeah, I've had several encounters with the Llorona. So who else is here? But yeah, you know, time goes by fast, brothers and sisters. Life goes by fast. You know, I remember when I was 18, serving the military. I'm 55 now. It goes by fast. My son is already 22. So time doesn't wait for anybody. But that's why I created spiritual encrypted encounters the way I did. And I put certain titles there because if God decides to take me, at least I'm leaving my wisdom and knowledge behind here on spiritual encrypted encounters. That if you're going through something, you can look at the title and just listen to what I have to say. That my wisdom and knowledge is still going to stay here through YouTube or through spiritual encrypted encounters on Facebook. So I share my videos there. Before I would do them on Facebook and share them to to YouTube, but now I'm doing them on YouTube, sharing them to Facebook. Well, where this happened wasn't in Elms Grove, with the Llorona. But we did witness her there one time, but she wasn't as bad as she was down. It was where we witnessed the Llorona was in my hometown, which was Remonville, Texas. When she wails, man, it hurts your ears. It sounds, how should I say, it's not like a regular woman crying. It's one of those cries that it sends chills down your spine, you know. She was either, this is what she was looking for, the Llorona. If you don't know the legend of the Llorona, she was seeing a man that was married and she had kids. She thought that the man was going to leave his wife for her, but he didn't. So she thought that it was because of her kids that he didn't go with her. So she drowned her kids. So God punished her to roam the earth for eternity, right? Forever, looking for her kids. That's why she goes after children that are not baptized, and she goes after men that are unfaithful. That's what she targets, La Llorona. Kids, children that are not baptized, that could possibly take. Y'all seen some of the movies, right? Of the whaler, the Llorona. Well, it's a lot different when you see her in person. It's not like the movies. It's a lot different. They can portray to be like the Llorona, but when you see her and the sounds that it makes, is it's crazy, man. It just you. I don't know if she makes a sound like that because she's trying to, for the fear factor, or for you to think that she's in distress, so you can open up your door. Once you open up your door, it's kind of like inviting her in, you know. I wonder how many people have opened the door to the Llorona. I just wonder that they're thinking it's a woman that's crying that needs help, and they open the door. Whatever happened to those individuals? What did they witness when they opened the door? Well, you got the Llorona, you got La Soyona, in Brazil, Brazil or Portuguese. La Soyona is kind of like the Llorona, or La Soyona and the Deer Woman are kind of like the same. Uh, but the Deer Woman is dealing with a native princess, that she's a shapeshifter, and she's very pretty. She's not crying. She'll come up to you. This, you can call her a lot lizard. That's what somebody called her last time. She'll go after unfaithful men. And one of the places she hits a lot is truck stops, where the men are messing around with the lot lizards. Uh, she'll go up to somebody and she look very pretty, very pretty, and they get mesmerized by her beauty. But if they don't pay attention to the feet, then they wouldn't know that they're dealing with a deer woman. I had an experience with a deer woman. Not that I was being unfaithful, but it happened there in Elms Grove. But I believe the deer woman was looking for, because what happened is we had a flood, and a lot of the houses got flooded. My friend, what's his name? I'm trying to remember his name. Brother Dave. His house had got flooded. He was separated from his wife, and his wife was living somewhere else. Uh, and I'm thinking that she was there for him, because we're sitting in our front. It doesn't happen in Elms Grove. Me and my nephew sitting in the front of the house on the picnic table of the mobile home, and we see something big, something massive, just pass right beside his vehicle. And he was like, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yeah, I seen that. It was massive. It had to be like 15 foot high, just a black, something big, black, massive." And we're like, "Hey, you think somebody's trying to break into his car or to his home?" I said, "Let's go check it out," because he told us that we could watch his home in his vehicle, because he want to go rent a room for the night. We ran down there. We looked at his vehicle. The vehicle, nothing, nobody broke no windows or nothing. So we're looking. We go to his door, and the door's still locked. And I'm looking. We're trying to figure out where the big thing went, right? So the mobile homes, the backs are like this, right? So in between, there's probably like uh, 8 to 9 foot in between the mobile homes. They're back like this. So I started walking to the back of the mobile home, and there's darkness. So as I start going almost into the darkness, something comes out of the darkness towards me, and it's this woman, and she just got a smile on her face, very beautiful. I back up and I'm looking at her, and I ask her, "Are you here for Brother Dave? Are you looking for Brother Dave?" And she looks at me with a smile on her face. Her shirt is kind of like a deer print. It has like the deer print marks, like, and I'm looking at her, very, very beautiful. She's probably like 5'4", 5'5", short. No, I mean like 5'4", 5'3". She's short. She's looking at me, and she's got the smile on her face, and she looks at me and she says, "Can you give me a ride?" And I was like, "Are you here for Brother Dave?" She didn't even say nothing. She ignores me and goes to my nephew. She's giving him this pretty smile, and she asks him, "Can you give me a ride?" And he's like, "Ma'am, I don't even know who you are. And if I was going to give you a ride, I don't have no gas." She ignored him and started walking up the street. And we're like trying to figure out what's going on, right? Because what we seen was something big. We're seeing this woman that's 5'4" that come out of the darkness. So as we're looking, she's walking up the street. It's kind of like she didn't get to manifest to its full form. The right leg is flapping. It's moving real fast. The right leg is moving like this. And we're looking and like, what the F? The leg, you can see the leg of a deer, the beastly leg, where it's moving real fast because I guess it's shape shifting. So the leg is moving like this very rapidly. She's going up the street pretty fast. We start running. She's walking, but moving fast. We go up to the hill. We don't see her no more in the street, so we're running as fast as we can. We go to the exit of the mobile home park. We look up to the left where the Domino's and the 190 is, the highway 90, 190, is it 190? We're looking and we see her on the street, and like her whole body's like manifesting, right? And she's just moving real fast. That's the experience I had of the deer woman, in which my nephew witnessed it. She's a shapeshifter. She exists. I'm just letting you know. She's a form of a shapeshifter. La Sayona from Brazil, Portuguese. I can't remember where she's from. Same thing. She got beastly feet. Uh, I think there is a movie about her, about there's movies about the deer woman now. I think there's a movie about the the Llorona, the whaler, and La Sayona. They make those they're called legends, right, or myth. But I witnessed them. I witnessed them. Spillinty said, "I've seen black eyes twice and sense evil plenty, but they're about it, and I'm okay with that." I hope you all enjoying tonight's story. Time flies when you're sharing your experiences and just speaking about whatever you want to talk about. Give me a topic, and if I experience something about it, I'll share my stories with y'all. Pick a topic, whatever you want to talk about, and I'll let you know. Any topic. I think somebody taught last time they told me if I've ever witnessed uh, aliens, and I have stories of that. No, any topic, whatever you want to talk about. Black eyes twice and sense evil plenty, but that's about it. And I'm okay with that. But I hope you're all enjoying the stories I'm sharing with y'all. Um, okay, I'll share another one with you. I remember seeing what people call him the smiley man. I remember seeing something in this nature when I was back home, when I was a kid. I used to stargaze, see the stars at nighttime. We had a big screen window, And I was always seeing the stars at nighttime while everybody was asleep. I just go look in the stars and I could feel the fresh breeze of air go through the screen window. As I'm as I'm there sitting looking at the stars, I just see a face appear right in front of me, like block my view of the stars. As I look, I see nothing but white teeth, a man smiling, white eyes. He's smiling and he's looking at me and he's got a hat on. So he's smiling. I can see his, like I said, his white teeth and his eyes are white. Then he goes like this. He wants me to put my hand against his hand. He's pressing on the screen window. So I get, I'm a kid. I get scared. My blanket had a little hole in it, so I'm looking through the little hole. And the smiley man is like this, looking down at me, and he's smiling. You could see that him looking down at me. And you could see his smile looking at me like he's laughing. But he just got a smile. So after a while, as I'm seeing him still there by the window, I just see him move real rapidly like that. So I get up and I look like this through the screen window, and it's not there no more. That's an experience I had with a smiley man. I'm not the only one that's had that experience with him there in my home. My cousin had an experience with him too. But he was already a teenager. When I had my experience, I was a kid. He had the experience with a smiley man at our home. He was already a teenager. You're welcome, Sister Katie. Well, brother, I can tell you this. It's not a creature that's doing that. It's something that's demonic, man. I share a story with you. You know me. I'm about stories, experiences. After the war, we're still up there in the front lines. Uh, the Battle of Medina Ridge. We were the first line of defense of offense. So we stopped where we were fighting at, and we were told we had to stay there. So where we're at, there's a lot of dead bodies, a lot of burning tanks. So we're there. We're there for about 3 days in that area where I'm hearing dogs eating body parts and stuff like that. But I noticed something, and when I try to get some rest, one time I slept on the front slope. I could hear something breathing right behind me, like right here. But it sounded like a lion, right? Sounded like a lion, breathing, like growling right by my ear. So when I would get out of the sleeping bag, there would be nothing there, but I could hear it. It happened to me a couple of times, like the way in which one night I said, okay, I'm going to leave my gear on, my boots on, and I'm going to leave my sleeping bag unzipped. So when I hear it, I'm going to jump out to see what I see. And over there, it was pitch dark because of the burning oil wells and burning tanks. So I heard it, jumped out of my sleeping bag. I'm on the front slope of the tank looking to see what I see. In the distance, I see this big white dog. He's going like this, crawling, looking at me. You gotta remember, uh, some of these animals, they had already ate human flesh. So it's coming at me like it's gonna attack me. I jump off the tank, and we're running towards each other. The dog, I guess that's a good event. The dog, so I'm running. The dog jumps from my neck area. As it jumps, I hit it with a hook right in the jaw. It starts spinning, and I start punching it. Boom, 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 boom. and you could hear the dog. The dog is making all kinds of noise while I'm messing it up. Pull out my bayonet knife. I'm fixing to kill it, and I could hear the first sergeant yelling, "What the hell's going on out there?" You know. Following day comes, they told me, "Hey, what happened?" And I told them, this dog. But basically, what I'm saying is, was it really the dog that I witnessed that was breathing by my neck? Because, if it was real, which I did make contact with, it was real, uh, I would have fought it. But I'm thinking what was breathing by my neck, that every time I looked, it wasn't there. It was war. It was something demonic, right? There's lost souls out there because of the combat. I believe it was something demonic. That's why runner. That's why when you look, there's nothing there. They mess with your senses, sight, tear ducts, smelling. That's the points that they can go through, and your hearing. So when you hear it that close, that it's breathing by your neck, it's literally trying to attach itself to you, man. Whatever spiritual opening you might have had or your brother had, is trying to literally attach itself to you, because that's how they attach themselves through your senses. So your spirit was feeling something trying to get near you. That's why you couldn't see it, because it's in disembodied form. I guess that incident of me and the dog, it reminds me of the sign of the yin yang, because we literally fought. I think there's something dealing with that. If you look it up, where there's part of the yin yang, when they meet, that talks about a dog. And I don't know what part of the yang, what was going on there, but the dog was white, and I was in the military, and we fought. What did the white dog represent? I don't know. Yeah, they're the spirits, and they're very conniving. When I do my videos and I go live in the woods, I always hear a lot of growlings. When I'm debunking the video, I hear growlings. I hear sounds of pigs. I hear somebody talking different languages. I hear bad words where they're cussing me out. I hear where they say, "Get out." I hear when they say, "Let's get them now." I hear all kinds of stuff after I come out of the woods and debunk my video. I think one time I was putting the voices of what they were saying one time, and people were liking it. But yeah, when you're able to capture that many disembodied voices, and they're threatening you in that manner, then that means because there's something there in that area. They know that what you're capable of spiritually. So they see me as a spiritual threat. So they come in a negative way. But I hope I got to answer your question, Brenner. Uh, there was numerous times in my investigations where I could be walking, I could hear footsteps running around me, but there's nobody running around me. But I could hear somebody running around me, but I can't see nobody. I could hear running coming towards me, but there's nobody there. And you could hear the footsteps as they're close to you. When they get close enough, I say, "I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name." And I don't hear them no more. There's times that I heard footsteps running towards me, but I'm not seeing nothing. Then I hear a growl, and I say, "I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name." Uh, there's times that I will hear footsteps running behind me, and there was contact. I would get hit, fly 4 or 5 feet, tumble and roll, get up with my guards up, There'll be nobody there. That's how they attack. On the path in Elms Grove, oh man, at nighttime, I would enter it. I could hear where branches are breaking, like something's running towards me, and you can hear the footsteps, boom, 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 boom. And as I'm in the path, they're running like I'm bracing myself for impact. They would stop, and there was no impact because I was protected. I had poured holy water on me when I walked into the area, so it wouldn't attack. I'm just letting you know, uh, wherever, when I speak of Elms Grove, I don't even go there, it's because I know what's there. I've gone there a couple of times, but it's like I've gone in and gone out. I try not to stay there too much. But these beings are everywhere. It's just there is I experience a lot of activity there. Yeah, that's where they reside. I don't know where you live, Runner, but sometimes if it's for example, native Indian burial ground, that's what's there in that area, that territory. It's because it's native Indian burial ground, so you're going to catch all kinds of activity from skinwalkers, shapeshifters, uh, to shadow figures, mimicking our voices. You're going to catch all kinds of activity. If you have the spiritual good discernment, you're going to be able to witness all this. But then after a while, you're going to get tired of it, and you're like, I need to move out of here because once you start believing in all what they're doing, they try to come to your home and invade your home. That's all they're trying to do to me, which I would pray all the time, get my house protected. They'll come bang. I have pictures on my mobile home, I think, where there's where the bang on top. My home was pretty tall, the mobile home, because it's off on the steel, so it's off the ground. It's like 13 foot high. On the very top, there's dents where whatever was coming to my home was banging on top of the mobile home. The dents in the aluminum, because my home was like aluminum. Oh, the dents way up on the top. Uh, Screen windows will get ripped off. There was always going for my little chihuahua in my restroom. The screen window was always ripped off, but it was too far away to get to my chihuahua. You live in Missouri. Okay, brother. Tennessee. Are you sure you wasn't drinking some Jack Daniels, brother Runner? That it was your brother that was a little bit tipsy, breathing real heavy on your neck? No, I'm just kidding, man. And that's where Jack Daniels from, is Tennessee, ain't it? I believe you, man. It's happened to me. Have you ever gone to the woods where you see something pass right behind you and it's looking at you, and by the time you look, you just don't see nothing? I gotta, man, I'm telling you, I've gotten, I can see things around me, I can sense them, and they're sneaky as hell. These the spirits. That's what they are, spirits. Because if there were flesh beings, like for example a cougar or wildcat, they're gonna try to attack, because they're gonna feel threatened. So they're gonna try to attack and they're gonna come at you. That's the difference between something that's real in the flesh and to something that's spiritual. Yeah, I believe it, Runner. It used to happen to me all the time, man. Too many times in Elms Grove. Uh, Man, I could be at the park, just in the middle of the park walking, and I could hear somebody running towards me in the park where there's no woods. You hear the footsteps, and I get hit in the back. This is what they always hit me in the back. I think only one time they hit me in the front of my house. Got hit, pushed backwards. I do have a special one for you that I haven't spoken about, I think. Or if I have spoken about it, I don't think I had too many viewers. Uh, there was one, I don't know what I should call this being, but it was one evening, my dog was barking, I want to go outside. I stepped down the front porch and I'm looking in my yard, and out of my right side view, I see something red get right in front of me. And out of natural reaction, like jump like this, I threw a punch at it. I threw a punch at it and I missed. Then what I was witnessing was this. Looked human-like, but it had no subcutaneous layer. It had no flesh, no skin. It was red, like in a form of a person. Red, all red, looked like blood. So I'm looking at it and it's looking at me. Then it lunges itself towards me, and it's going in through my gut area. Like it's literally going in through me. As it's going in through me, I say, I tie bind and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. Then it just goes into little pieces, scatters everywhere. When I say, I tie bind and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. I was like, what? Like trying to figure out what just happened. So I go walk up inside the house. Some of my energy got drained. So I'm going in there and I'm feeling a certain way. I go sit down on my bed. My son at the time was like 4 years old, 5 years old. He said, Dad, what's the matter with your back? I said, what do you mean? So he grabs my phone and takes a picture. And I have the picture where I have the scratches on my back. It manifested to look, I don't know if it was trying to take it some kind of manifestation, but this one was just red, pure red, like it's like a body with no flesh, just with no subcutaneous layers, just the meat. That's what I witnessed. But when I rebuked it, it dispersed into little particles. I'm telling you, man, these beings, this I call them disembodied demonic Nephilim, or whatever it has to do with witchcraft, necromancy, or shapeshifters, skinwalkers, they can manifest just about into anything. Yeah, like they were skinned, literally. Yeah, there you go. That's the proper. I will say the proper road runner. Like they had no, like they were skinned, like their skin was off of them. He's just red, and it tried to go through me. Literally was going through me when I rebuked it. I'm thinking that area where I lived, it could have been native Indian burial ground. To my understanding, after I did the show of This Was Haunted Season 3, Episode 2, there was this man that he said he seen the show, that he wanted to talk to me about something. He was an old man. He said that he seen that airport get built, that he was part of a construction, of building the old airport in Killeen, where I lived. And he said that when they were digging it up, or they were preparing it to build the airport on it, that they found a mass grave site, and there was like native mass grave site, that there was like they had jewelry and all kinds of stuff, and some of the people where they were trying to get that from them, the people, the workers, and he told them to put all that stuff back. And he said that he talked to his foreman, that his foreman told him to build over it, to cover it up and build right over it. And he's saying that like the golf course, that airport, and where I lived, that all that was part of that native Indian burial ground. And he's saying that's probably why I see the activity that I would see there, because where he lives on the other side of the golf course, and they see the dark shadow figures over there too. You know, his daughter said she sees the dark shadow figures over there. He's seen it. His wife has seen it. So, you know, there's a lot of native Indian burial ground that has been built over. Yeah, yeah. Don't have those signs of welcome, because you might be welcoming something that doesn't belong there. You just don't know, brothers and sisters. Like I said, I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy what I went through, man. It was one of those things where you're getting spiritually attacked through so many directions that they're trying to get you to think that trying to get you to lose your mind so they can take full control. Just put it that way. That you have to write on a piece of paper what's going on, and you have to stay preoccupied, go for a walk, not to believe of what you're seeing or what you're witnessing or what you're going through. Because when they will come in numbers. You know, try to attack spiritually and physically. That's the reason I say, brothers and sisters, 'cause, you know, I witnessed some creatures that look like real creatures, that they literally look real, like in the flesh. I witnessed one when I was cutting through the path that I heard movement behind me. So I stopped to look, and something came out of the woods, and it was on all fours, but low to the ground. Imagine like you're doing a push-up and you go down, but this being had his arm extended the long way. It was pretty tall. It covered the whole path. It looked human-like, but he had fur on it, and he had spots on it. And I'm looking at it, it's like, what the? I was like, you know, to myself, what the is that? And as I'm looking at it, it's got white eyes. The sun hasn't set, and its ears, inside the ear, it has something black over it, on both of them, and it's vibrating, like it's sensing. So the ear things are vibrating, and it's moving its head to the left and to the right, like it's sensing, but it can't see, like it's blind because the sun is still out. So it's using his ears are trembling, and it's looking like this. And I'm looking at it. It looks human-like, but it's too big to be human-like. It looks beastly. It's like muscle. This one was like had short hair, kind of like I would say light brown hair or large, like a darkish grayish hair, something like that. And I seen the spots all over its body. Like I said, it looked human-like, but it was too big to be human. And just moving its head left to right, left to right. As it's looking to me like this, I'm standing still in the middle of the path. I'm not moving. And it's looking my direction, and I felt like the world felt flipped upside down on me, like it sent some kind of wave or something in that nature, like it sent a wave to see, and it almost fell down to the ground. But as I was falling, I caught myself from not to fall and hit the ground. So I guess it was trying to see if we sensed any movement. So when that happened, I thought he was going to charge me because I moved a little. And in my imagination, right, that he was going to charge me. But I'm looking at it, and he didn't charge me. Then it just moves its head like this, and he crosses the path. And I seen it go into the woods. I waited about 10 minutes before I moved. I wanted to make sure it was out of the path. Now, till this day, now that looked just like the other things look flesh and blood. What was it? It's kind of like I didn't get to type and rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name because it looked so freaking real. You know what I'm saying? That I didn't want to move. I really thought it was some kind of animal. Uh, the only thing I can think of, the way it looked, the way its ears were a little bit pointy, the way his nose was, the nose wasn't human like. The nose was upward, kind of like the nose of a bat. The only thing I could think of would be, you know, a Nosferatu. But that's the only thing that could come to me. Nosferatu, or something that dwells in the darkness, that can see during the day, but that can see at night. I would say more of evil things, Brother Runner. Evil, just like what I witnessed there in the path. That could have been a possible shapeshifter, but that could have been the lycanthrope of the area. This is what I would think. Maybe like the nose like a werewolf, but like I don't know. It looked strange, but it was massive. It didn't look like a werewolf, but it looked more human-like from the face. More human-like from the face. The eyes looked human-like, but they were white. I seen where it went to. I could try to go see if there's like maybe there is a location that I'm thinking it might have gone. It's a Because when I went back out of there, when I went to go check, the plate of it was moved to the side. It's a big steel metal plate, and it's a cement thing that sticks up out of the ground, and there's stairs that go down in there. There's a lot of those set up along that area in Elms Grove where the creek is. I'm thinking that's where it went underground. I never got the courage to go check it out. I was like, nope, I'm not going down there. I'm not going underground. I believe he moved the plate, and if there is something like that, for those that are into cryptids, I can point you the direction if you want to go investigate. You say you got the guns, you can go check it out. I know how big the tunnel is when you can go downstairs or walk, take the steps down. I don't know I've never been down there. Uh, but I believe that's what they went down underground, maybe a sewer system. I know there was a guy that would tell me, don't go out there. They're out there. So what's out there? And he would tell me straight up, werewolves. I was like, man, he's smoking weed. He don't know what he's talking about. But when I started having my experience, it's like he wasn't lying. It was something that he was witnessing. But he said he would hear him going underneath the street in front of his house. There, the street, the main street. You could hear noises and growlings underneath the street. So if there's somewhere, I mean, I don't know anybody's talk about this within the crypto community or dogman community. If it's something that is legit real, right? Then it probably will be within the sewer systems. Yeah, I didn't go down there. I'm thinking in that area, there's got to be some kind of underground location or cave of some sort. I'm thinking that the cave might be over there on the other side of the creek because I went in something that didn't look like a dog man. On that other side of the creek, it was something that looked like a Bigfoot. I was fishing with my son and I seen it walk. It stood by the creek and it's looking at us. And then it's looking towards where me and my son are fishing. And he's staring, he's just standing there looking at me, and my son. I said, Mijo, let's go home. I'm hungry. Reel it in. I was trying to show no fear. And he starts reeling it in his fishing rod. I'm reeling in my fishing rod. And I was like, let's go, Mijo. And I'm looking at it, he's looking at me. Then he just walks back into the wood line. And we get up and we leave. But that one looked like a Bigfoot. It was pretty big. It kind of looked like a Bigfoot, but more like a swamp. Like it had stuff hanging on the sides, you know. And I'm thinking, why would have something hanging from the sides like that? No, I know that there's equipment the military uses that can blend in with Mother Nature to look that way, but this it was huge, you know. I was like, this is not military base where I'm at. What is that? So whatever it was massive. Uh, I just never went back. I never went into those woods to investigate, but those things that I speak of, cement things, they have a metal plate on it. They're there. They're in that location also. I mean, I'm just saying that I believe there's something down there. Do I want to go down there? No. I don't want to know what's down there. Something's definitely down there. Just put it this way. Every year, there's dogs and cats missing from the neighborhood. All you see is posters of dogs and animals that are missing, cats and dogs. I used to find tails of dog and cats in my park. I mean, there's animals out there that'll eat them, right? But the only thing that were living was a tail of the animal in the park. And I was like, who's a sick Emma ever that's killing the killing the animals and cutting their tails? That's all that was left. I found a location where there was in the open space. I found nothing but dead animals. I was with my son, nature trail walking, and we found dead dogs, dead cats, dead dead foxes, possums, raccoons, nothing but fur in this den of dead animals. There was a Saint Bernard. No, no, no. A Doberman. Is that Doberman? Yeah, the ones that are all black with the spine ripped out of his back. It looked like a fresh kill. I looked at my son. My son's like freaked out. He was 10 at the time. I said, Mijo, let's get the hell out of here. And we leave, you know. We had a lot of, how should I say, area to cover to get out of there before the sun went down. But there was nothing but dead animals. You could see where some of them had like leeches on them. The Doberman or had chain, like where it was chained up from somewhere. But it was just a chain that was loose. But the dog had the spine ripped out of it. I know where that location is too. And in that location, there's a little pond. There's a pond there, right? A pond. You pass the pond, and that's when I ran into the den. And if you go further up, there's a cement barrier that has a tunnel. And I'm thinking that some might be in there. If there's something that's in the flesh, you know. I know there's wildcats and cougars there. You're welcome to spilling tea, Spunky and Sparky. And what's messed up is all that area now is fenced up. I know somebody bought the land, but there's all in that area. Even in the area where I used to go fishing, there's barbed wire fence, and it says no trespassing, no trespassing. There's no trespassing signs everywhere now. I don't know if somebody knew something or somebody seen the episode that I was talking about that area. But if you go now and pass through the area where I live, you'll see no trespassing, no trespassing. Those signs were never there before. That's all you see, no trespassing. And then where I would go fishing, the land where there's one of those cement barriers, they got a fence there now that you can go in there. It says no trespassing now. I just hope you all enjoyed tonight's live feed. Uh, uh, Thank you for tuning in and letting me speak about this. I hope you all have a good evening. You enjoyed the show tonight. I don't want to keep you up more later than what it is right now. Is there any more questions or anything? I'll answer any questions right now if anybody want to ask me something. Ask me something, I'll answer. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's show. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Oh, we got 23 people. Thank you for tuning. I don't even know what time it is right now. Let me see. Oh shoot, we've been going for a couple of hours. 4:49. But anyways, brothers and sisters, thank you all for tuning in. Have a blessed day. God bless y'all. And y'all have a beautiful, blessed day here from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Brother Abe Cias, signing off for the night. Y'all have a beautiful, blessed day. Peace out, everybody. Oh, do you think these things are fallen angels? Yes. Well, they're not the fallen angels. They are the disembodied demonic Nephilim. That's what they are. Because the fallen angels, all those, they're in hell. The Watchers are in hell. But the Watchers created the Nephilim. The Nephilim got destroyed during the flood, but they're amongst us in disembodied form, which we know as demons. I call them the DDN, disembodied demonic Nephilim. Those are the ones that have the capabilities of manifestation because they're demonic. They're able to manifest this way. That's why some look very tall, but they can manifest to whatever, any size. You're welcome, Sister Katie. I would like to see some of those pictures, Brother Marcus Hill. If you have any, you can send me a friend request. I'll add you on as a friend, and you can share the images with me on through Messenger if you like. Yeah, they come out on camera. I believe you might have, you know, a calling, spiritual calling. So that's right, probably where they're manifesting around you in camera because they see you as a spiritual threat. So, or that, or you might have a spiritual opening. That's where they're around you. And you got your camera, you're capturing them, you're following your senses. That's how I capture them when they surface up. They want to interrupt my conversation, so I move the camera around. Normally, I use my phone, like I'm using my phone right now, and I move it around. If I hear a noise to my left, I go like this, to the right, like this. There's one in front of me. I flip the camera around, but that's how I catch them uh, through my videos. And I create short reels where there's movement, where they're turning their heads. But if you were to look through the physical eye, you won't be able to see them. But the camera is able to capture them. The way you can capture them during the day is because of the ultraviolet rays of the sun. It breaks their spiritual cloak. Listen to me. I said spiritual cloak because the ultraviolet ray of the sun gives them color. So that's why they hide within the trees because they don't want to be exposed during the day. They try to hide in dark places, but when they try to come mess with you, they can near the tree line. The ultraviolet rays of the sun expose them. It exposes them, and you're able to capture them through the camera. Thank you, Brother Marcus. God bless you too, brother. Any more questions? Any more questions? I'll answer any questions. Anybody want to ask something? I'll answer the questions. One day I will go back out there again whenever the right time is. It's not a good feeling when you go out there and investigate and they try to drain your energy. That that it'll take you like 2 or 3 days to recuperate from your energy being drained out there while you're investigating. That's one of the reasons I kind of like don't like going too much out there. I think I've already got enough evidence, through my pictures, through my short reels, videos. Oh yeah, they're there, brother. They're in disembodied form, so they can enter any object, just like they can enter people, anything that's living. A tree is living, so they can enter a tree. Uh, I remember I went back to Elms Grove. I took a couple that wanted to go check it out during the day. I left them in the woods just to see if they encountered anything. When they came out a little bit frightened. They were telling me that when they were in there, they were hearing footsteps, like somebody was running around them, just like I spoke of. They said they got on their knees so they wouldn't move, and they could hear the footsteps running around them. They came out, uh, and they were telling me what they experienced. So she pulled out some sage, turned on the sage, and started going around us with the sage for protection, right? And I witnessed it. It was by the tree, the oak tree. It was pretty tall. It was looking at me. It was like all this was black, but the face was kind of white, and he had like a smile on his face, and it was pretty big, and he was just looking at us where she was protecting with the sage. And then it went behind the tree, and you couldn't see it no more. But I don't think it's because it was by the tree. It was because it was within the tree. Natives used to bury their dead and plant a tree, right? Where as a great grave mark site, so they can know where the person was buried. So it's possible. that is the spirit of a native, because natives will paint their faces also uh, with white or with red, right? Like red faces when they will go to combat, with berries, right? Yeah, I've captured images of like children, images of women, images of native people with necklaces, stuff like that. Uh, and skinwalker image where you can see the face looking at me, and on top of the head you can see either the coyote, the coyote head on top of his head looking at me. But yes, any more questions, anybody? I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's live feed or early morning live feed. In saying that, uh, everybody have a beautiful, blessed day. God bless every one of y'all. Peace out, everybody. And if anybody has any questions, you can leave a comment after the video and I'll answer your questions. Yes, Katie, still, I have come up against the skinwalker shapeshifters there in Elms Grove. Uh, Not just even in Elms Grove, even where I live here in Temple, I've encountered them. I created a short reel. There's like 2 weeks ago, one that manifested out of thin air and it's coming straight at me. And it was in beastly form. I couldn't see it with my natural eyes, but I recorded it because I was doing it live. So I was able to capture where it's coming from a distance and it moves real fast, like spiritual fast, right? Which is the video was, I timed it like 1 second. If what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place the regular speed after I do this, finish this video. How fast it moves. I'll place it on here on the YouTube channel. But if you go further down on my short reels, you're gonna see the one where I gave it some time to be able to slow down the speed, which is probably like an 8 second, to be able to capture it when it's coming towards me. But he covered literally, because it's moving in disembodied form, it covered, I would say, 60 feet in 1 second. 1 second, 60 feet, possibly longer, because where it was coming from, it covered like 60, 70 feet in 1 second because it's moving in disembodied form. Yes, brother Marcus Hill. I just check out the short reel. I got a short reel where I got different filters around it, but you can see many of them in there. There's one that looks like a bird. There's one that has one eye. There's one that looks like a squash. There's one that looks like a werewolf. I placed a short reel yesterday, and you can, well, it's not here. It's on my group, Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Uh, is that when I try to place it on YouTube, it took like that much of my picture, so it don't take it hasn't gotten the full picture. It makes it cuts my picture. That's why I haven't placed it here, but I got it on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on Facebook, and I got it on TikTok. On TikTok, it shows a full picture under ABCS, ABESIAS. Look me up there. Uh, you can check it out there. It's got the picture, and I created it with different filters, so you can be able to see all the beings that are there. There was a lot of them. I say there's like 7 to 8 beings there, or possibly more. Ape see us on TikTok. Or you want to follow my group on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on Facebook. I got it there also. Well, I believe you, brother, because what people don't understand is that what you're capturing, they have different forms of animals and birds. You know what that is, right? That's the disembodied demonic Nephilim. Why would they look like birds? Because the creators, the washers, that's what they looked. They had different manifestations. Some looked like men. Some looked like they were birds. Some looked like they were some kind of reptilian creature. And some looked like they were fish. Those were the washers. They created the Nephilim, which are disembodied Nephilim, so they're able to manifest like the creators. And what do they do? What do they do, brother? You know, Marcus. They're always watching. If you notice, they're always just looking, just looking at you on the videos. When you capture them, they're just looking at you. Why? Because the creators were the watchers. You can call them the Anunnaki, but we know them as the watchers, or the Apakulu. What do you think? A lot of the tribes, doesn't matter what native or tribe, the people sometimes they dress like birds and they dress like to look like a leopard or some kind of animal, some kind of wolf. Uh, the Nagual, the medicine man that dress with a looks like a wolf head and the garments like an animal, because that's what they're worshiping. That's what they're worshiping. The washers, the washers that had everybody deceived. That's why the pharaohs learned the witchcraft and necromancy from them. The all the anything with a pyramid, the watchers were in charge of them. They wanted temples to be made for them, to be for them to get worshipped. So they had control of the kings or whoever ran the tribes. They deceived them. They said, okay, you want good crops? Uh, Kill this many people. You want good weather? Kill this many people. So they were winning. They were winning because they were deceiving them, and there was blood sacrifices. They were worshiping them, right? So you could say they were like gods to them, but not gods. They were demigods, or they were tricking them. So a lot of people died in that way. But that's why a lot of the cultures dress the way they do, because that's who they were worshiping, was the watchers. The Anunnaki, Apakulu, they're all the same. They're called different names. I remember I had an experience. Uh, where I was shown a location spiritually. I was taken spiritually. I was seeing a location spiritually, and I could see all these souls being tormented, where their flesh was coming off and coming on, off and on, like a constant torture. And the demons that were in charge resembled these beings that they call the watchers. The way they were dressed, how they looked, pretty tall. And they said, we have many names. Do you want to know our names? I didn't say nothing to them. They brought me back I was back in my room. They said, we got this after I had forgiven my worst enemies. He said, we want you to do something for us. So we want you to take your life. He said, if you take your life, We won't mess with anybody in your family. Just take your life. And I said, first of all, I pray for all my brothers and sisters and our children, our next of kin, and they're protected through Jesus Christ. So now, because, I have forgiven, it's part of love. Now I'll take authority over you in Jesus Christ's name. I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. When I said that, they flee. They went through the walls, And that was the last time that I've had an encounter with them. But I see how they look. I see what they do. But they flee when you say Jesus Christ's name. That's all I can tell you. They looked, the ones that were there, they were tall. They looked like they were human-like, but more of from the native, like the way they looked and what they were wearing. They had knives and all kinds of things of torture. You could see like lava, fire, where they're located at. But that's what they do. You're welcome, Brother Hill. We'll pray. We'll say a prayer before we go. Heavenly Father, at this time, I would like to pray for all my brothers and sisters that are tuning in for the live feed. We want to place spiritual heavenly crosses on all of us from head to toe. Spiritually heavenly crosses in our homes, on our doorways and our windows for protection. And we're calling upon you, Heavenly Father, to send your heavenly angels our direction to do a clean sweep, cleanse our homes and cleanse our foundations, ourselves. We type and rebuke any negative energies or unclean spirit in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Thank you all. Hit the subscribe button if you like this channel. Hit the likes, share it with your brothers and sisters. Here's about the spiritual truth. It's not about a man-made things. I'm bringing everything up. Talk about the truth, spiritual truth. I mixed it up with my experiences in life or whatever experience. And I bring the spiritual aspect out of certain situations so people can understand that there is spiritual warfare amongst us right now. And for you to get prepared to maintain your love foundation, to forgive those that you might not have forgiven, forgive them. Because that's part of love. Do not fear, do not anger, because those are spiritual openings. Do not believe in something that you're not for sure if it's 100% flesh, right? Like a Bigfoot, big dogman, or any other kind of cryptid. Because if it's a demon in disguise, then you believing in it, you're giving it power over you. This is what about speaking the spiritual truth, brothers and sisters, to protect you, your foundation, your next of kin. We gotta teach them how to fight spiritually. Saying that, God bless y'all, and y'all have a blessed day. Peace, everybody.